good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, guys. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and of course, um, we are going to go live in a few minutes on X as well. So, Zara, thank you so much for joining us. Kelly and Lowe's, thank you so much for joining. How are you today, Annie?
So I feel on top of the world. I feel alive. I'm actually having good sleep.
We are live and alive. Also, from the United States, we've got Brian McNeil, who's is joining us. If you guys can, if you can please introduce yourself, Brian, so our guests on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and YouTube can hear you.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to introduce myself here, Brother Cyrus. My name is Brian K. McNeil, and I am the Sales Confidence Coach. I do want to start off, and first off, I look at this as a tremendous opportunity, but I want to start off the way I start off all my podcasts and say these words to you, that our lives are not scrimmages or practice games. There is no Martyrs Hall of Fame. Time the speedster takes its toll, and for us as entrepreneurs, every day really is the Super Bowl. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Brian, you're a ball of energy. We're so lucky to have you. We're going to be learning from Brian how to sell, really. I've got the pleasure of introducing, I don't think Paulette needs introduction, but ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you Paulette Hallam from the United Kingdom. How's it going, Paulette? You all right?
All good, thank you. All good, thank you. Excellent. The sun is shining.
When you are around, the sun is always shining, Paulette. Annie, please bless us with a few words and tell us how you feel today, what we're going to do.
I'm on top of the world. It doesn't spread the energy from me, right? Annie is the calmer one. Annie is the much more, reserved one. But let me welcome my friend. Clever, welcome. Gregory, great to see you. Been to your audio rooms, always interesting. Glad you're here. Natalie, our sustainability expert. See, Nat, I can say it eventually, right? And Dr. Amaka is here as well, and the plants genius. She thinks things and I've never thought about. When I look at a plant, trying the leaves, it's just a leaf. Not to her, it's not. The whole world in there. Lewis, welcome as well. Kelly, great to see you. Roger, welcome. Sharon and Francine. So welcome. Now the day is good. The week's going to be brilliant. So I'm looking forward to it.
Any session that you're in is a brilliant session. And plus, please don't tell me you don't give us energy. You energize people in a different way, right? So you every person has a different way of energizing people around them, right? So you are a great source of energy, and you are the reason why I've got my live streams on LinkedIn again. So
I was watching. I joined an audio room this morning, and it was a British host, right? And I thought, that's more like it. We have a unique way, whereas your friend, in the US, that's just lively, right? But he's super lively. And I just think I'll never get that lively. I'm all right.
Well, different people have different types of energy. So what I've learned in sales and marketing, I've learned you have to connect with all sorts of people so things work, right? So it's all about teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? So Paulette, how you feeling? I am really sorry you went through a little bit of illness recently, and I just want to ask you how you are.
Yeah, not too bad. Still a bit full of cold and a bit coldy, but I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. I'm breathing again, which is always useful. I find breathing is terribly useful in life. And yeah, I'm raring to go. So let's get going.
Yes, Paulette, I'm sure you get that a lot, but you have a beautiful and energizing voice. Okay, let's not forget that. Thank you so much. We are blessed to have you. Now, I just wanted to welcome a few of our guests, Kelly, Greg, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us. Clever, Amaka, Lowe's, Kelly again, and Francine and Sharon. Thank you so much for joining us. So, some people say there's a book in everyone. There's a book in every person, but not everyone can be bothered with writing, right? So, podcasting is the new writing these days, right? So, it's the new blogging. Podcasting is like live blogging. Whatever you're thinking, you relay that to your viewers and listeners, right? So that's vodcasting, which is video podcasting, or it's podcasting as it is podcasting. So things have changed. Many moons ago, you have to sell door to door or face to face, right? Then thanks to the power of social media, you didn't have to do that anymore. You could do it on the phone or on a, I don't know, like people used to do it on radio shows. Not everyone can have their own radio show, right? Because what happened was at some point, TV killed radio. People who were just listening to the radio, I'm talking about 40s, 50s, 60s, right? People were addicted to radio, right? Then TV, because of its visual capabilities, right? Because human beings are more visual than anything else, right? They became more interested in the magic of the TV. Everybody is sat in front of that box. They don't look boxes anymore. They look like these flat things on our walls now, right? Then there's also something called poetic justice. Social media came and killed TV, right? Now, this is what we're doing now, live, right? So that connection between the presenter and the viewer became more real. All of a sudden, TV lost its magic, lost the touch. Now, I remember one day my granddad told me, I wish I could choose the adverts that is being played on TV. That wish came true, didn't it? Now, there is something called cookies, right? And those cookies are tracking what we do, right? And that's how podcasts, and that's how vodcasts, and that's how YouTube presenters are making their money. Those networks, those platforms, put your advert right in front of the eyeballs that is intended for that type of advert, right? Those cookies find out what type of I don't know what type of products you like, and they show you more of that thing. So selling has become much more easier, right? And if you can't sell online, it's just due to lack of imagination. It's not due to lack of capabilities, right? So sky is not even the limits anymore, right? So it's just the limit is the limit you impose upon yourself, right? So we've been, me and Annie, we've been talking about the power of podcasts and what podcasts can do. And the question is, what is it that podcasts can't do? Because if somebody comes to your show, like you guys just came to our show, if somebody comes to our show, they're not gonna watch another channel. They are on this channel, right? So as an example, if I put a product in front of you, you will see it. Obviously, either you will be interested in purchasing it, or you won't be interested in purchasing it. That's a separate matter. The point is, those people who come to your show intentionally. They don't come here to buy the product. They're here to buy your personality. They're here to buy your efforts. They're here to buy your energy, right? They're here to buy your knowledge, specialized knowledge. So, Ennie's had a podcast in the past, and he knows. Some of you in the room have had podcasts as well. Any knows what I'm on about, and so do you, right? Only the level of knowledge varies. Now, when you have a product, what's the primary intention? Selling it. Why do you sell it? To make money, right? That's how life works. If they don't buy it from you, they're going to move on and buy it from somebody else, right? So that is the reason why. Because some of you wrote to us and said, yeah, okay, so I am on LinkedIn, but I can't sell much. So we thought about it, and then we were like, okay, we are good at marketing, and this is what we're doing. We are marketing, but we need a sales tactician. We need a sales expert. All right, so we brought the sales expert to you guys. So, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So you ready for me to launch, or?
We are ready for you. Please go ahead.
All right,
what have you got for us today?
Okay, I have a lot for you guys today. So you keep me on point, brother. Brother Cyrus, if I go for too long. But today, everyone that has tuned into this podcast will be better at selling themselves and their services by the time I finish talking than you were before I started. And this is not what I hope to accomplish either. It's what I know will be true. I'll even ask you, do you not feel that you can make more money now that you've participated in this podcast? Do you not feel more confident in your abilities to transmute what you know into dough? Okay. Now, Brother Cyrus is a phenomenal thought leader. He's a phenomenal coordinator because he asked me great questions before we started. So I'm prepared to give, and I'm going to give very generously. I'm going to share things with you today with Cyrus's audience because I like Cyrus. So I'm going to share stuff with his audience that people pay me thousands of dollars to teach them. Okay. And you're getting it just because you tuned in today. Woo, woo, woo. Lucky you.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So first off, I need to, some of the stuff I'm going to say too, just to preface, is going to be controversial to you. And I'm going to present it cafeteria style. You accept the things you want, pass over what you don't. Okay. But these are things that I discover as my truths. I've been helping people to sell themselves and their services better for 32 years now. I've written 7 amazing books. 3 of them are Amazon bestsellers, and one of them has even won an award. So I'm an award-winning best-selling author, as well as a sales coach and a sales speaker and all those things. So let's get right to it. Selling today. There is a difference between selling and marketing. People try to conflate them, but they should not. Marketing is the creating awareness of and to the right people, and often enough so that they can consider getting it from you. Marketing is letting them know about it, and if they want it, they can get it from you. All of that and that whole world is marketing. Selling is merely the part of getting the money in exchange for. That's it. Just the getting the money in exchange for the product or service. That is the selling part. Now, there are some people who say, oh, I don't like selling, or I'm not a salesperson. And yes, you are. Let me say this up front. People who think they don't like selling, yes, you do. And I can prove it to you right now. Have you ever sold anything? A bike, a bed, a car? Have you ever offered a Girl Scout cookie or anything? And when someone decided to buy it from you and they gave you the money for what you offered, you've never held that money and said, you know, I don't like the fact that they gave me money for something that I offered. I would go so far as to think that every one of you who ever got money for anything that you offered, you were happy to get it. You liked the selling part about it. What you don't like is the potential fear of rejection. That's what people don't like. They do like to sell, but they don't like the potential of being rejected, and they don't like not knowing what to say or do. They don't like that part of it. But that, other than that, they do too like to sell. You do too. Yes, you do. Now, I'm a believer. I hope that doesn't throw anybody off, okay? But I do believe in the tenets of the Bible and it's hard for me to talk for really long, Cyrus, without quoting stuff. Okay, is that going to be okay here today?
Well, yes, it's going to be all right. But I just want to explain to everybody, me, Annie, Paulette, and Angelica, we all just for the sake of clarity, we respect all views, all points of view, and whatever belief or persuasion you are of, you have a special place in my heart, in my mind, and I respect you and I love you all. So the points that Brian is raising here is just to enhance the teachings that he's delivering, and just to echo what Brian was saying. We all sell, whether we admit it or not, and we all in the business of proving something. So from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, you are in the process of proving. What is your personal story? Is your personal story the fact that, oh, I can't sell? Well, guess what? I'm gonna go Henry Ford on you guys. Henry Ford always said, if you think you can, if you think you can't, guess what? You are right. So before we continue, Brian, I just wanted to say Angelica Coral has just also from California has joined us. Angelica, how are you today?
I'm quite splendid, my friends. How's everybody doing? Good to see everyone.
Love it.
Yes, I love it. Angelica, ladies and gentlemen, Angelica, one of the best podcasters that I know.
How many people answer the question? Quite splendid. That's
Quite,
pretty cool.
I love it. Love it. This is why she's on our team. This is why we are colleagues. So if you're on stage, thank you so much for your patience, guys. And if anybody else wants to come to the stage, please prepare your questions. If you have a question, please join the stage, guys. Please. Brian, please bear with me for a few moments. Annie, what is your take so far?
I'm thinking, I want to welcome some more people, obviously,
Please
and also, nice if you tell them what you do, Cyrus. So that you haven't told them how you can help people, right? And you know, I like to tell people how we can help. Otherwise,
yes,
they might leave here with the same problem they came in with, which is rather frustration for me.
Yes.
As an audio room guy. So let me welcome Francesco, the Tajuddin.
That's cute. That is
as always. The Marco, I see you, my brother Izu. The man with a golden voice is what I call him, because he has got the TEDx voice, because he organizes TEDx training and events. So he's the man who has that voice I wish I had. The coach with everything, Brenda Lees, glad you're here, of course. There's my good friend Aaron Gibson. So if you haven't been to Soul Man Live, on a Friday night, it's coming back soon. I can't wait. We're probably one of the best shows online, full stop, right? Not just audio, or it's not just live stream. It's Aaron's different take on producing his live stream events. Connect with him and go and see one of his shows. You see one waxing lyrical about what he does. Dr. Lisa, my favorite human on LinkedIn. Glad you're here, Dr. Lisa. If I don't see you in a room, I do get kind of concerned. But you're always here, so I'm all right with that. Dr. Lisa talks menopause, and we do a room every other Tuesday to help people in menopause. They, of course, do connect with her, and she's genuinely funny when she wants to be. that's that nice thing. My take on the topic, of course, we're trying to add value to people's lives, and I think, of course, sales is one of the most important things that we need to learn how to do. I've paid good money for sales coaching, because even though I'm in marketing, it's not the same as our friend said, it's not the same as sales. We have to learn how sales really works and what makes people buy. So that's a good conversation to have. But I think, at the heart of the conversation, Cyrus, it's a question you asked earlier. I think, essentially, what do you do? What do you actually offer people? Do you have something that people actually want to pay for? That's what's going to lead to sales, right? If you haven't got something worth buying, worth selling, why would anyone believe that they should buy it from you? And I say it's a good conversation. I love the fact that you're streaming to different channels today as well. Again, I think that you can't sell without getting more reach, Cyrus. You need more reach, right? More people to see and hear you, engage with you, and then get to know, like, and trust you. I think those are all important ingredients when it comes to sales, right? Let me stop talking. I'd rather listen to my friends talk than me talk.
Sure.
I love listening to you talk,
Scott, I read that. How are you today, Scott? You okay? Okay, so so to address what
It was quite funny though.
yeah, you're always funny, Scott. You're always funny. I think we should start a show called Scottcast if that domain is not already gone. So
I had it.
so any in response to what you just the valid point you just raised, what we do, what I do is I connect people, and the main thing that I do is right now I've brought you from the UK. I've brought Paulette from the UK. I've brought Angelica from California, Brian from the United States, and I've also got Jasmine Ofori from Jew Digital on StreamYard right now. She's gonna also bless us with a few words later on.
And me from Australia, you dick.
So now, so what I do is I create podcasts and I train people to become podcasters. So I make podcasts and I make podcasters, right? So this is what I do. So if you've been thinking about creating a podcast, only if you want to sell stuff on it, if it's just going to be about talking and stuff like that, and there's no product on it, I can still help you, but we normally prioritize people who want to sell something, people who are struggling. They're putting food on a table for their husbands, for their wives, for their children, for their brothers, for their sisters. Some of them for the charities that are supporting. So we are helping newly formed and fresh startups. So before I go back to Brian, thank you so much for patiently waiting, Brian, as well. Paulette, you are one of the few people that I know on LinkedIn who is doing what you're doing, but you're so humble about it. Okay, tell us how you can help people in this room, and please use these 2 minutes to your advantage and to our advantage, really, because you're blessing us. Thank you.
Okay, so how I can help you. So I'm a business strategist, so business consultant, so I can help turn your business around. That was what I did for years. Then I broke through the glass ceiling and made it to the top, and then retired at 52. Charles retired at 48. I had a need to understand mental health a lot more because my son was going through some very difficult times. So I then retrained as a counsellor, retrained as a therapist, became a counsellor and a therapist. My doors revolving because I was offering my services for free. And it became a situation where I had to be realistic and say, I'm going to end up needing therapy if I carry on doing this.
Oh, sorry, Paulette, for stopping you there. Why did you sell your services for free for a while? What incentivized you to
the main
do that?
reason was because the NHS was overloaded due to what had happened with COVID.
The National Health Service in the United
National
Kingdom,
Health Service in the UK was overloaded. Most people don't have private medical care in the UK. The children and the families that came to me were in desperate states and they needed help immediately there and then. And so my job, as I saw it, was to support as many kids as I could in that time. But normally when you are registered, you would have a supervisor and a manager who you would then download your case studies to so that they would be able to help you unload so that you end up keeping your mind fresh, ready for the next patient. But I had nobody. It was just me, myself, and I. And it was tough. And I decided that I was going to make myself ill, and that wasn't fair on my family. So we decided that I spoke to Charlotte, my best friend, and I said, look, I've been writing books for years for kids. I think now is the time to do it. I've been into schools trying to be Mrs. Worry, the lady with the worry basket. Put your worries in my basket, and I took them away. I did that for a few local schools, but found that they wanted me from one end of the country to the other, and that was impossible. So unlike you, I couldn't make 1,000 Mrs. Worries. I didn't have the reach. So I thought the best thing to do was to write and write and write and write. And that's what we did. We got the books out as quickly as we could. The first book's a book about bereavement, and the second one was about new house nerves. And Jack and Water is what we're all about here. We're all Jack and Water fans, and we're all talking about our inner voice and how our inner voice can support us as adults, but also how it can support us as children. It's crucial that children understand they're not on their own, and that actually they have an inner power. So that's what Jack and Water came about from, and it's been incredibly successful. It goes on to be successful. Third book will be launched before September, maybe early October, which is New School Niggles. So we've covered the new home, we've covered the new school, we've covered losing a family member. So we're trying to cover all the key areas where children struggle and need support. That's what real effort looks like. It's exhausting, but it's never been so much fun in my life. And I'm enjoying it. People seem to like what I have to say. People like how we're doing it. And thank the Lord for LinkedIn, because it's been the best find that I could have ever found. I had no idea. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul. You're one of the best people I've found on LinkedIn. And for those of us who are trying, who still haven't found that mastermind team that you are looking for, if you haven't found that mastermind, please keep going. If I stopped a few months ago, I wouldn't have found any. And Angelica and Paulette and Brian and Jasmine and the rest of the amazing people I've got on LinkedIn. So thank you so much. Before we continue, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about global.media.com. That's one of the sponsors of this show, and I love my sponsors.
Global.media.com, and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with global.media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with global.media.com, and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with global.media.com.
Thank you so much. One of our amazing sponsors, global.media.com. So, Brian, thank you so much for patiently waiting. Please go ahead and talk to us about the sales principles that you promised us, because people in this room are people who are hungry for success, and without, some of us, unfortunately, we are using the spray and pray kind of strategy, and that doesn't work, right? So what should we do?
All right, here's what I need you guys to know. I'm going to go right into a quick burst here. When I do live workshops, whether there's 10 people in the room, 100, 1,000, doesn't matter. If I ask the question, why would anybody hire you? Why would anybody buy what you're offering? Why would anybody give money in exchange for what you offer? You hear a smattering of things like, well, because I'm honest, because I'm hardworking, because I'm passionate, because I love people, because I'm available to them, because I've been doing this for a long time, because I have 2 degrees in it and certifications in it, because I'm fun to work with, because I'm funny to work with, because I really, really do care about other people. All of those things are great things, but none of those are reasons to give you money. All of those things that make people like you, respect you, maybe even admire you, but not give you money, because none of those are tangibly a benefit for the other person. They're all about tangibly beneficial to somebody else.
Sorry for interrupting you there, Brian. Now, from a customer, I'm a customer. You're the salesperson, right? You can tell me how great you are.
That's right.
But I am stressed and I have a problem, and I've come to the market to solve that problem.
That's right. You can tell me how great you are, and I can appreciate how great you are. I can believe you, and I will think, good for you. Now, unless you can communicate how you being great will benefit me specifically, there's no reason to give you money. It's only a reason to appreciate you. Think about this here. There's a lot of people that you know are in business, but you've never done business with them. Even though you like them a great deal, but you've never done business with them. Why not? Because you don't have a reason to. There's a lot of people that know you and like you a lot, and they know what you do for a business, but they've never done business with you. Why not? Because they don't have a reason to yet. That's
because
why.
you're not solving any problem yet,
or at least not communicated it yet. So many great entrepreneurs are keeping it a secret about how they can help other people. Okay, and I'll prove my point too. Why would anybody say yes to you? Why would they hire your coaching services? Why would they buy your improvement programs than any other reason? It ain't because they like you. Liking you is not enough. It's just not. No like and trust is killing a lot of entrepreneurs' business. And I'm going to prove my point. No like and trust, first off, is an abbreviation of the original Greek formula. The original Greek formula says people must like you before they listen to you. They must listen to you before they trust you. And they must trust you before they buy from you. Where we mess it up is the liking part. They don't have to like you enough to put you in their weddings. They only have to like you enough to hear your story. Okay? That's how much they have to like you enough to hear what you got to say and determine if it benefits them. Here's why people will say yes to you. I'm going to give you the 7 reasons why people will historically and enthusiastically want to give money in exchange for what you have. And if you don't speak to these reasons, they won't give you their money. Number 1 is time. Time. Is there any part of your services that will either save your client some time, or are there any results that they'll be able to achieve faster with your help than without your help? If you can help them when it comes to time in any way, you should talk about that. If you don't talk about how you help them when it comes to time, it's like you're having an amazing benefit that they would give you money for, but you won't tell them about it. From Cyrus, for example, he just mentioned how he helps people do their podcast and creates podcasters. If there's an amazing thought leader who has an idea of having a podcast and he wants to have that podcast successful, could he not build a successful podcast faster with Cyrus's help than he would without Cyrus's help? If that's true, nod your head, Cyrus. Is that true? He could build this more successful one with your help than without your help. If that's true, he can build it faster with your help than without your help. You should talk about that, because that's a good reason to give you money. Not the fact that you're successful at it, great, but helping him to do it faster. That's the reason to give money. It's a difference between almost making a sale and actually making a sale. A maybe versus a yes. The difference is, how will it benefit the other person? Some of you guys just picked up the point right there. Right there, there is some genius. Okay, and some of you guys will get the genius later on in my talk. But right now, I want you guys to understand they will not hire you or buy from you because of how great you and your stuff is. They will hire you and buy from you because of how great your stuff helps them in their lives. You don't compete against other companies. You compete against how well they sell it. You don't compete with other coaches and consultants and insurance agents. You don't compete with any of those things. You compete with how well they sell it. And you don't sell to companies or businesses. You sell to a real live, breathing person with their own personalities.
Brian, sorry for pausing you there for a second. Guys, another point I would like to add to what Brian just rightly said. Back in the day, people were fighting to win a sort of edge against their competition, right? Now, the competition has changed. The competition now is for you to stay relevant. It's not for you to get more customers than the person sat next to you. Okay? You are not in a power struggle with the person sat next to you or not. The real struggle right now is to find out what the market wants and how to stay relevant. Brian, please bear with us for a few moments. Annie, thank you so much for waiting, and please go ahead and have a few words and welcome more people if you wish.
Of course, I'd like to welcome everyone. So, Christy, welcome. So, Popeye, we'll see you. And there's a reason why the mind's called Popeye, right? It's a muscle man, so he's one of those people. Glad you're here. Of course, it does audio rooms as well and live streams. So, Peter is one of the true geniuses on LinkedIn. Also, a recruitment expert. So, many ways that Peter can definitely help you, despite his amazing physique, which has been jealousy and envy. April, welcome. Janice, great to see you. Rihanna, thanks for joining us. Hey, Ari, and that woman that went from wheelchair to dance floor in 21 days. And she talks motivation, she talks resilience, she talks how to find your true self and be who you are meant to be. And Mr. David Jones, Mr. Metaverse himself, I'm glad you're here, David. How you doing? They find out about how Hello LLC can put you in the Web3 space. And when we talk about Metaverse, it does exist already. David's got a Metaverse that we'll need to be looking at and considering joining, because it's where the internet's going, right? My friend Fancy Nancy is here as well. Fancy Nancy, I always love to see Fancy Nancy. You know, she's excitable, she's interesting, and full of knowledge. So finance, money is her thing, right? So look out for what Nancy's going to do when it comes to helping people to learn financial literacy, is what she calls it. Of course, you mentioned our Facebook friend, our Facebook marketing genius, Jasmine is here as well. Jasmine, 2 places at once. There's a clone of you, Jasmine, at last, right? You know, Jasmine is a Facebook ad. So you're here, right? That cheers me up. That's me, Cyrus. Of course, many are joining us. Cyrus just joined, Linda's just joined as well. And amazing Umber has just joined too. The people who you really want to connect with, because they all do amazing things and they're all here to help. And they talk genius every time they share as well. So let me give it back to you, Cyrus.
Thank you so much. Jasmine, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I'm not in the right place to put the camera on, but I would have.
That's fine, love. That's fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got Jasmine Ofori from Jude Digital from the United Kingdom with us. Jasmine, please tell us how you're going to help our listeners and viewers on YouTube, LinkedIn, and the other platforms that we are on for the within the course of the next few weeks.
All right, okay. So I'm Jasmine Ofori from Jude Digital. What I do is I help coaches, consultants, and event hosts to promote themselves online using social media platforms. So what we do is we customize content, infographic information tailored to your branding. We also do professional banners for websites and so on and so forth. But I've collaborated with Mr. Cyrus here to work together to help solve big problems for businesses when it comes to advertising. So we are going to be working together to tackle advertising on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and all the major platforms that are out there for social media. I'm excited for this opportunity. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Having you here is an opportunity, to be honest, Jasmine. I've seen your work, and that's why we're working together now. You're good. You're really good. So, Brian, one of the traits of a successful salesperson is patience, and you have lots of it. I appreciate you. Please go ahead.
It's because I recognize that I has greatness in the room all around me, and I'm excited about that too. So
I love this room.
Yeah, but I did come here with the commission that when I'm done, everyone that hears me today will be better at selling themselves and their services, and I'm gonna accomplish my goal. But the first thing I talked about is all those great things that people think that people want to give you money for. They just don't. They are not going to give you money or hire you because of how awesome you are. They will hire you and give you money because of how your awesomeness improves their life. That's the first one. I'm going to endeavor to go down the road of the 7 reasons why people will historically and enthusiastically give money.
Well, Brian, you're awesome. Do people pay you just because you're awesome? I don't think so.
No, they don't pay me because
I'm hire you.
They don't pay me because I'm good looking. They don't pay me because I'm fun. They don't pay me because I'm a good guy. No. They like me fine, but that's not enough. They'll give me money because I'm going to improve their situation.
Give me your money. I'm good looking. I don't think that's how it works.
Right. But people who don't understand selling, they'll spend a lot of time, energy, and money making things pretty.
Are we on to reason number 2 now, or
we're getting ready to get to number 2? We have only covered one time, but the second reason why people want to give their money is the word money. But this happens in a few ways. People want to give their money to the person or the thing. The person or the thing that they believe will help them to either earn more money, save some money, or both. Does what you offer help someone to either earn more money, save some money, or both? For a lot of you guys with just a little bit of creativity, it is both. And if you have a way to help them to earn money or save money, you should talk about that too. Stop talking so much about how great you are. Talk about how you're going to help your clients to earn more money because of your services, or keep them from wasting money by putting money in places and on things that don't serve them. So if you can help them to save money or make more money, you should talk about that too. That's the second one. Did you want to piggyback each way, or did you keep going?
No, please go ahead and mention one more.
Okay. The third reason why people will give money.
Sorry, Brian. Guys, if you want to come to the stage and tell us what you think and what you want to share, please go ahead. By all means, raise your hand and ask a question. I have a business strategist, Paulette Hallam. I have in the room, we have Angelica, who's a podcaster, videographer, and a lot of audio room expert. We've got Annie Osong. Let's not forget the main man, which is the reason why I created my audio rooms. He simply inspired me, and soon he's going to publish me as well, because I finished my book, and soon we're going to be talking about publishing the book as well. If you have a book that you've been thinking about, or if you have a book that you finished, talk to Annie. If you have issues with your business not functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning, talk to Paulette. If you have a podcast, if you have a YouTube channel that's struggling in terms of number of followers, or if you need a co-hosting, talk to Angelica. I have assembled a formidable force. Right now, we've added Brian to that force as well. As if it wasn't formidable enough, we have brought you a sales coach as well. Before we continue, thank you so much for joining us, Sharon, David, and Nancy. Greg, Lisa, Los, Francine, Natalie, Aaron. Thank you for joining us. Brenda, Liz, Francesco, I need to speak to you about an Italian song that I've written. I need your consultation, please. Ariadne, I hope I read that correctly. If I didn't read it correctly, please come to the stage and tell me off. I apologize in advance. Kirsty, Peter, April, Janice, Tajuddin, Zara, Umber, Lorelei, Mariana, Jesse, and of course Jasmine. So very quickly, Sharon, what is your question for the panel today, please?
Oh, hi everyone.
Hi.
Do I have to decide on one podcast topic, or can there be like a main one and then subtopics if I do it more than like say once a week?
Angelica, I'll let you answer that question. That's specialized in your line of work, and Sharon's question is an extremely valid question. Please go ahead, Angelica.
Well, I think Sharon, it depends on what it is that you feel that you're really interested in doing.
Okay, I'll just give you like the 100,000 foot view. So I love that you were talking about selling from the podcast. I'm like, oh, I can kill two birds with one stone. So I'm working on my own like brand, but then I also keep finding more people like Brenda Lease, like just my tribe keeps showing up. And it's so my brand is called Gita, Gratitude is the Attitude. And then there's a lot of things like practices and rituals and mindset management that goes into being able to live that way all day, every day. So, it keeps growing and morphing and branching out, but I just feel like I have a lot to say. So I could use the brand to get people's attention, but then also have other experts on that have like mind and different things that they're trying to get out there and just make the world a better place.
It sounds like it's the one niche on mindset, on gratitude.
So mind right, vessel tight, spirit bright. And like you can transform yourself with micro habits and micro changes. Like everyone wakes up January 1st, like, okay, my whole life's going to change. So I just happen to be in line like at a store August 1st. And I'm like, okay, well, why isn't everything just lining up? I set the intention August 1st. It's a new month. Like, let's go. And they all laughed at me. I'm like, but see, you expect that same thing on January 1st. And it's not funny. So just like a little bit of thought provoking and just kind of making people look at things from a different angle, but then also giving them practices and tools to apply in everyday life, because the world's getting easier and harder all at the same time. Right. So I know there's a lot of people with a lot of different perspectives and a lot to share. So part of it is like, I don't want to become an expert in any of this. I just know where to find them and ask all my questions, and then everybody can hear the answers all at once. Sort of like what y'all are doing.
That's great. You could do that. And it's actually falls under one niche because it's under mindfulness and wellness. Kind of all go together.
Self-empowerment, those things, like helping everyone be better, like be yesterday.
There you go.
Yeah, but like I've done this and I've overcome a lot of hurdles, and I heard him talk about what people give you the money for, because I also want the money. It's like, well, you can learn all the lessons I learned, and I'll give you the shortcut and the map to the treasure, because all the answers are inside yourself. So stop looking outside.
Well, Sharon, the elevator to success is always broken down. You have to take the.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes. That's as quickly as I can.
Yeah. So Sharon, just to let you know, some of us, they're not working for the money, right? They're just here to help and contribute. That's
right. Well, that's where the content comes in, and then I have the products to sell.
Yes,
so the brand kind of represents all the free content that I'm offering
Sharon, There is a bot there, right?
Okay.
So, just to be clear, BUT. Okay. There's a bot there. So that main bot is that we all say we don't want the money when we don't really need it. However, if the money is given to you, through that process that you're going through the process of podcasting, if you make the money, if you don't want it, give it to charity. Right?
Yeah, that's
so
another.
If you want it, I'm sure you have more than one pocket. You have a purse and you have a bank account, right? You can keep it anywhere you want. But if you don't want it, you can pass it on to somebody else. But make the money. So that podcast that you are making, right? Because it's one of those things. Better make it than let that opportunity pass you by, right? So when you're creating that podcast, you have to have the right structure, right? So I get a lot of customers, I get a lot of clients who come to me and say, I have the podcast, I have the YouTube channel, but it's not working. So why is it not working? Because their structure isn't there. The right structure isn't there. There's only a talking head, and there's a few people who want to also join the conversation, and that's it. So it has to be, it needs to be. Problem, solution, obviously sympathizing the solution, and then product. Problem, solution, product. If you don't observe that structure, you will not sell. If you observe it, you will. Thank you so much for your question, Sharon. Next, we have Brian, VIP sales coach. Please go ahead, Brian.
I will. Thank you. I'm going to keep it going because the fourth thing on my list speaks to that young lady who was talking about the different topics. Okay, but the number one reason why people will give you money is because of time. When you help them with time. Number two is when you help them when it comes to their money. Number three is the two words good feelings. Good feelings. People want to give money to the person or the thing that helps them to feel better about themselves. Like now. Can you help them feel better about themselves now? Even if they've been messing it up until this moment. Yesterday ended last night. So can you help them to feel better about themselves now? And can you help them to imagine other people having a higher opinion of them? So can you either help them feel better about themselves, or can you help them to imagine other people having a higher opinion of them? For example, if you help structure their company in such a way, or market their company in such a way that they look better to the world, and their peers and their family members see how they're now looking with this new look, appreciate it more.
Can you give us an example, please?
Sure. 65-year-old man buying a red convertible sports car. He didn't buy it because it has good brakes. He bought it because he imagines he looks cool while driving it. And he also believes that when you see him, you're going to agree with his opinion that he looks cool. If someone helps me to revamp my website and I like how it looks now, for example, and I know that the others in the marketplace are going to appreciate it as well, I feel better about it myself, and I can imagine others having a higher opinion of me because of it. Good feelings is a good reason why people will give money. Can you help them feel better about this? There's two unasked things that people want from you, entrepreneur. Number one, they want you to make them feel important. And there are a lot of ways you can help people to feel important, but they don't want you to make them feel like one of a number. And they won't say those words to you, but it's there. Make them feel important. And the other is they really need to believe that at least one or two of their problems can be solved through you. If they don't believe a problem can be solved through you, and you don't work to make them feel important, they will not reward you with their money. They will reward you with their money if you will do those things. So time, money, good feelings. I'm up to number 4. Do you want to offer before I go to number 4?
Yeah, please bear with us for a few moments. Thank you so much, Brian. So we have David Jones on the lounge as well. So David, welcome to another edition of From Gloom to Boom. Thanks for joining us. You are great at what you do. So what is your question or contribution today?
Well, good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are. Angelica, Cyrus, Annie, Dr. Ellis, Miss Paulette. Always great to hear you guys' inputs and being able to share with people, that they can do it. And this is something that I remind you guys all to do, is just press the button. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to have all the gadgets and gadgets to start your podcast. You literally can not have to even talk about business. If you love gardening and that's something that you can't shut up about, do a podcast on that. Because in that podcast, you're able to talk about, what you do and how you do it. And people will relate to you, because that's what it's all about now, is building your community, having that relatability, and more importantly, being your authentic way. We can no longer hide behind logos and, the videos and things of that sort. And even more importantly, I would ask you all to change your perspective that we're all not going to live forever, and that you have kids, you have family, you have somebody that you've lost in the past, that how amazing would it be for you to go back and listen to a monthly podcast, a weekly podcast, to reminisce about that person. And this is where I share with you all that we have that opportunity now to live forever, to leave our loved ones with, not just what they think, but actually out of our own mouths. And being able to implement this AI that literally you can do a podcast, and there's an app that will cut it into 20 different posts for you to schedule it for you. Now more than ever, to do a podcast is copy, paste, drag, drop. I mean, you all right now can go open up a link Spotify on your phone right now, take your headsets, go sit in a room and do an introductory about yourself. Bring your clients onto your podcast, and that's a great way for them to bring their community, you to introduce your community. And now, you have a testimony as well. And so it's not all about being able to, be an expert on anything, but it's really being able to utilize this content all in once, to where, time is our only competition right now. And being able to have an audio room, being able to have a podcast and have it on multiple different channels is key right now. And so right now, I would encourage you guys all to get out of your own way, drop the trauma, drop the drama, drop the patterns and the programs that runs through our head that says, oh, I can't do that. That's not me. I'm not this person. I'm not that person. You are your person. And so show up in life and be able to really, resonate with someone, because your story is your glory and it's somebody else's survival guide. And more importantly, you get to remind yourself how far up the mountain you've made it. And so I would encourage us all that you have a story. So get out there and share it. And, collaboration is the new currency. And there's enough abundance out here for us all, especially as we move to a global economy, to where you can be able to take your podcast and translate it into different languages. And that's where we're at, especially, for our Getting Naked podcast that we have. Not only can you go listen to it, but you also can come into the metaverse and watch it in an immersive environment. And this is really where we get to transition and change the experience that we're all looking for, whether you believe in it or not. Your clients and your customers are looking for it. And the biggest thing is the average age of the world is 30 years old. So we have to be able to look back and adapt to what's happening and what's going to be present in the next 3-4 years. And so that would be my share. As always, be grateful for what you have today and be inspired by, just doing the things that you should do, because that's what success is on the other side of the things you already know you should be doing. So just press the button. Back to you.
David, don't go yet. Are you enjoying the show?
Always.
That's good. Any, please go ahead, bless us with a few words. And I guess we have new guests who are arriving.
Always have new guests. I see Dr. Leslie is on stage, so I don't know whether he wants to speak. So let's do remember him, right?
Dr. Leslie, yes, of course.
So Jesse, that's an amazing, powerful voice on here. Glad you're here, Jesse. Thank you for joining us. Hallie, welcome. Of course, Bethan's, super mental health expert. And there's some people that are just born to help people and to be compassionate. And Bethan is one of those who advocates for people who who need support. So do connect with her for sure. I also see our hospitality legend, expert, genius, Teresa is here as well. If you want wine and funny cheese being, those cheese are not, that they're special cheese. My wife likes those horrible smelly cheese, right? They're the good ones,
They're
apparently.
the best tasting ones, man.
The reason that what I'm talking about, I haven't got a clue. You know, but tonight she's the one you're going to talk to combine wine and cheese and hospitality as a whole. That's me, Cyrus. I'm going back to my little hole now. Of course, we mentioned Lorelei, right? So I'll leave that there. Who I missed?
Annie, you sound like you're in a better mood today, my brother. What's going on? What's happening?
I told you, I slept quite well. So no, getting done, work getting done. Books getting published, Cyrus. Published books, and Annie's always happy.
What should I do to make you laugh, Annie? What should I do? Normally, you're in that old doom and gloom mood.
Order a KFC.
Oh, okay. I was gonna tell you a knock joke, bro.
A knock joke. Go on, Cyrus.
Do you know what happened to the guy who told the first knock joke?
No.
He won apparently he won the Nobel Prize. There was no bell. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So
okay, you made me laugh. Okay, I'll give you that one. Right. Okay.
All right, moving on. So Brian, thank you so much for waiting. Let's go.
Sure. The better the pun, the louder the groan. What you just did was a pun.
It wasn't funny, but it was punny.
Yes, but when people go, that means it's good. The louder the groan, the better the pun. Yep. And I'm gonna go to just the fourth of my list of 7 because I need to make sure that people get this point. Why will anyone give you money? It's not because of how awesome you are, and you are awesome. But can you help them save some time or achieve a result faster? Can you help them to save some money or earn some money or both? Can you help them to feel better about themselves like now? Or can you help them to imagine other people feeling better about them? And number 4, which speaks to one of the questions that your guests have mentioned, is this question. What is the big and obvious problem that is solved by you and your services? What are you known for? What is the big and obvious problem that is solved by you and your services? For a lot of us, the big and obvious problem is that your clients can't do it on their own. But you don't want to be, and this is a challenge, Cyrus, because a lot of us solve a lot of problems, but you don't want to be known for all the problems you solve. You want to be known for the big and obvious one. For example, watch my face. Okay, we just look at my face for a minute. And I'm going to look at yours, Cyrus, too. Okay. Now, I'm a sales coach. I help people to sell themselves and their services better. And I do it through my coaching, through my Talksroom platform, or through my books. Okay. I've been doing this for a long time. And since I've managed salespeople for a long time, I could also give great counsel on how to manage your sales force. I can also do that. And because I speak so often, I can give you great advice on public speaking as well. And since I speak so much and I've been married for a long time, I can give also marital advice and relationship advice and dating advice as well. And because I work in so many companies, I can also give advice on teamwork. Notice how less interested Cyrus became with the more stuff I said I did. He started looking down for other stuff because you're not interesting when you keep talking about all the stuff. People don't want you to solve all of their problems, but they need to believe you can solve 1 or 2. Does that make sense, Cyrus?
Well, so just for the sake of clarity, at the same time, I'm wearing many hats here, right?
Yes.
I'm checking the audio, I'm checking the video, and I'm checking the guests. And
well, I was trying to give so much stuff that I wasn't interesting anymore.
Brian, there are 2 Brians that I really love. One of them is you, and the other one is Griffin from Family Guy, right? So,
yes.
There's only 2 Brians that I like. So, no, honestly, if you weren't interesting enough, you wouldn't be on my show. I'm gonna pause everything for a few moments. We've got Lisa in the room. Brian, let me let you know, about the power of this room, right? I am strong because of this team that is behind me. Okay? They make me feel strong. Let me let you know why. So really, I'm going to go around the room and ask a question. Paulette, what's the name of the book that you've written, and what problem does it solve? Very quickly.
New House Nerves, it helps children who are suffering from anxiety when moving into a new house.
Thank you so much. Paulette Hallam, Jack and Walter. Okay, so Angelica Coral, what's the name of the books that you've written and what do they solve? Just check these people, Brian.
Okay, the one that I've written is Max's Quest for the Lost Treasure, and how that helps parents is it gets the children interested in reading because it's for preschoolers, but it also helps with the rhyming because the rhyming helps with the literacy skills, and it helps them with the rhythm of reading, and it gives them phonemic awareness. So a lot of good things when it comes to teaching literacy.
Oh, that's amazing. Can you please do me a favor, Angelica? I'm sorry if it's too much trouble, but can you please do me a favor and leave a link to all 3 books in the comments? Is that okay? Very quickly, we want to show the crowd something, all right? Can you please do that for me?
Sure.
Okay. And Paulette, can you please do the same favor to us? Can you please leave a link to your Amazon one or to your Audible one and leave it in the chat? Is that okay?
Love to.
Thank you. Annie, what is the name of your book and what problem does it address or solve?
I stroke the book as I speak. I always like to stroke the book, right? Lessons we learned from COVID-19 is what the book's called, my friend. And essentially it's helping people to fill in the gaps for what's happened during the pandemic, how we survived, and the resilient stories that they can learn from. We want to inspire people to see that now we didn't just survive, we know we're thriving. How did we manage to get to this situation? What moved us? What can you learn from us? You know, what can you learn about yourself? Of course, being a book, future generations are going to be asking the same question. What really happened in the pandemic? Same as we asked about what happened in Black Plague, for example. I want them to read in my co-author's book, come back to my co-author's stories. Of course, now for me, there's many different reasons I've done the book. Now, the book essentially makes my friends authors, best-selling authors, and that's my ultimate goal, right? So others can see how we can write anthologies for them, publish, and make money from it. I could carry on, Cyrus, but you know.
Any Professor Roxanne is also in the room. I believe. She's also a part of
one of my amazing co-authors. One of my 10 co-authors, 9 co-authors, 10 of us in total, who told those stories in the book. So Dr. Roxanne is definitely one of those. So do connect with her, and better still, Cyrus, come to our room next, because our anthology room is on after this, right?
I always do. And you know
on the hour. So if anyone else wants to be there, my friends, I can share the link in the comments.
Please, by all means.
Come and meet the authors. Come and ask them questions. Come and find out what you can. If you want to be a writer yourself, what can you learn from our course?
50 people, 50 chapters, right?
No. There's 10 people. 10 chapters.
10 chapters. Okay. So
yes.
That was another anthology, the 50 most influential.
Yeah, there's many anthologies going around, Cyrus. Many are going around. There's a bullying one. Rattled Awake. There's Dr. Constance's one.
Yeah.
Paulette knows about. I think Paulette's in that one.
Yes,
Paulette. There's right.
Yes. So, Brian, thank you so much for waiting. Please do continue.
Thank you very much. I love how you are championing people and their books. If you will, I'll take you on a short journey of some of my books. Okay, I've written 7, but I'm not going to talk about all 7.
Can you please mention them? Can you please mention them?
Of course. The first book that I wrote was called The Shortcut, the fastest route to selling your services. The Shortcut by Brian K. McNeil, the fastest route. This teaches entrepreneurs what to do with their time. What do you do on a Monday? What do you do on a Tuesday? Teach you how to answer the question of what do you do? Because if we just do what it says do, it's a lot of cake and very little frosting. Do what it says do, you'll have more clients next month. It doesn't cover how to overcome objections and close sales. So I followed that one up with the next book I wrote. It's called Asking for the Money. Asking for the Money. How anyone can close more sales, even you. Very comprehensive book. My first Amazon bestseller. Teaches you what to do before you ask for the money. What do you do when you ask for the money? What do you do if there's a little bit of resistance? What do you do if there's a lot of resistance? This book infuses the reader with confidence when it comes to asking for the money and closing the sale.
Oh, by the way, Brian, sorry for interrupting you. There is this thing that Ennie is doing, which is obviously he launches people's new books. Now, if you already launched, okay, but you have not launched in his circle, there's this thing that he does that he will help you relaunch your book.
Yeah.
Now you will, because you do realize that every few years you have to do a relaunch, right? You have to bring your books up to date, right? You have to catch up with the times, right? So times move on, books get printed, and they stay behind more often than not. So
you learn more,
yeah. So please consider contacting Ennie, and he will help you with a relaunch as well. So let's quickly go through the books, and then
all right, cool.
Go through.
And then I'm gonna feature one. Next one I want to feature is my book, Why Rhinos Make Great Entrepreneurs. Feature my character, Mr. Randall the Rhino, is running parallels between rhinoceroses and great entrepreneurs. Thick skins, great hearing, poor vision, those kinds of things. But lastly, is my latest Amazon bestseller is this book, Mastering Sales Language.
Link.
I've tried to post a link, it won't let me, but I did put it in the private chat, so maybe someone can share it. I couldn't get it. But this book is called Mastering Sales Language. Eliminate these 21 harmful phrases and embrace words that sell. This
psychology
book right here has been a gem. Yes, sir.
So psychology then.
Yeah, mindset. Stop saying that. Replace it with this. Stop saying these bad words and replace them with these good words. And all this stuff. And so many of the reviews are talking about, oh my gosh, I found myself realizing I'm saying all these bad words to myself, and your subconscious mind is not going to let you do the things that you find distasteful. So things you need to stop saying, like, I don't like salespeople. Like Sharon Rose Winfield, I see in the comments, thank you for that, because a lot of people make fun of it or have fun with that. The way I say the word money.
The way you say money, it sounds like new currency.
Yes.
It can I just tell you, it reminds me of Jerry Maguire. Show me the money.
Show me the money. That's right.
Paulette, say it again.
Go ahead,
Paulette, please say it again.
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry. Say again. I'm shouting again. Your man does it 10 times better than me.
Show me.
We want to hear it from you, Paulette. We want to hear it from you.
I sound like Mary Poppins. I know you're taking the pee. Show me the money.
Oh, I guess this is where you open the handbag, right?
Drop you in it.
Oh no, Angelica, have you been enjoying the show so far? Angelica, you're awfully quiet today.
The money.
There you go.
Brian cracks me up.
You sounded like a gangster, Angelica.
That's the way to do it. That's the correct way. But I studied.
I'm sure she's got bling. I'm sure she has got large blings like around her neck as well.
There's some science behind that. When you study things like rhetoric and how to use voice inflection to persuade, we have more than one voice. All of us do. But certain words got stuck for me, like the words a lot and money. They got stuck while I was studying how to use inflection to persuade. Yep.
Comments.
Money. I like to say it more sexily. Money.
That's right.
I
don't take it disrespectfully. I think it's fun. Okay.
I think it's fun too. Yeah. I think, guys, we got Michelle Ramos on the screen saying great vibes and so much knowledge nuggets, beautiful collaborations. Absolutely. This show is all about collaborations. speaking of collaboration, we've got Annie from the UK. We've got Angelica from the United States. We've got Dr. Leslie, I think from Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. I've got David from the United States. I've got Zara from Pakistan. And Zara, by the way, how are you, my friend? You all right? Please don't ask me to show you the money.
I've been here for 8. I've been here for 18 months now. And, thank you, Paulette. But yeah, I'm doing great, Thank you so much.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Thank you. Do you have a question for Annie, for Paulette, for Angelica, or for Brian? Do you have any questions?
Your leaders, 18 months. Not about podcasting, but like about a book. I'm like dedicated for the very first time to complete it, because it's in my life on this part of world where whatever I started, I cannot complete it. Maybe that's why I'm not having that money, But and everybody has this complaint. Where's your click button? Where is that click button? This gentleman is like, he knows how to talk. He knows how to connect. Yeah. He knows what he's saying. Emotions are connected with the soul, blah, 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 everything. But where is his click to button? Show me.
Yeah.
So for the first time, sorry.
Well, Zara, you're raising a valid point. Most of the people in this room, right? I study people's work. Okay, in order to be able to help them, you have to study their work. Most of the people in this room, they don't have a CTA. They don't have a call to action. Okay, so some of them don't need it. But those of you who do need it and you don't have it, please create some sort of package that can be clicked on a website or on your LinkedIn. Whatever you do, it needs to be presented in some sort of physical form, right? So if I give you Paulette as an example, well, she does have a product. That's a book, right? If I give you Angelica as an example, if I give you Annie as an example, or Brian as an example, they give you, some of them give you 1 to 3 to 7 reasons to interact with them. They have written books, right? Yeah. So I've heard you are writing a book, Sarah. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And I've learned that because now you are Whisper Boy Pakistan, and you are our representative in Pakistan right now, and in your end of the world. Whisper Boy Pakistan, absolutely. Whisper Boy Pakistan. So, so as the last question, because I need to go back to Brian. Last question. In your journey, writing the book or creating the podcast, what's the next step for you?
First, I need to get this 100 pages officially done. First, 100 pages. And then start talking about my own book on the podcast. And this way, I can slowly move further.
We had a conversation a few days ago, Zara, didn't we? You have to be talking.
I don't want to be bestseller, but a bestseller, like how you said, Cyrus.
Yeah, you deserve that.
So
you need to be talking about your book, right? Let's say it takes you 7 months to write the book, right? You have to be talking about it for that duration of 7 months. Prepare your market, make them thirsty and hungry for your book, right? And then after that, once the book gets published, preferably through somebody like Annie, somebody who's got the experience, somebody who's going to save you money in the long run, right?
Yep.
So the money that you pay to the publisher is the money that you will not lose, perhaps times 10, that you will not lose in the long run. Okay, so thank you so much for your contributions, Zara. And Annie,
just a quickie on that one, just jump in. You also can do it on a prepay now. So you haven't even got to worry about the sales initially. You just keep driving it through the podcast, drive the interest, push the interest, and then get pre-orders for your book. Pre-orders.
Mm-hmm. Our
To
intention is
sell-
to create podcasters. Our intention is to create podcasters who are able to sell through their podcast. Okay, so now, Annie, what is your view on the conversation so far? What is your take on it, please?
It is brilliant, Cyrus. Very lively, much to learn, much that we're all learning. And of course, I think everyone's got a podcast in there, right? Everyone's got a story to tell, whether that's what you do, what you like doing, what you want to do, what you've done. Let's all learn to use our voice. The world needs our solutions, right? Let's share them, my friends.
Thank you so much. We've got
what is Brian's?
Go on, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cyrus. I just wanted to
Mr.
ask
McNeil.
what is Brian's last name? Because
Mr. Brian
Ari
McNeil.
in the audience, she
Put it
wants to know
please
his last
as
name.
Brian K. McNeil. Brian K. McNeil. If you want to search me, Brian BRIAN, the letter K, and McNeil. Without the K, you'll get a bunch of folk. But just Brian McNeil. But if you put Brian K. McNeil, you'll get directly to a lot of me. Okay. So that's how Brian K. McNeil, sales confidence coach. Thank you very much. I couldn't post my link. I hope someone else can in the comments. Thank you, Cyrus. I need to say this because I'm hearing you guys. Are you offering your services to people or for them? And this is a major question. Are you offering it to them or for them? This kills that noise about, I don't want to keep talking about my stuff. I don't want to keep bragging about my stuff. They don't want to hear it. So when you're selling it to people, just to them, you're trying to make money. When you're selling it for them, it's because you know they will be better off if they give you the money you ask for in exchange for what you're offering them. If they're better off, if they give you the money in exchange for what you're offering, then don't you owe it to them. Then you're doing it for their benefit. Are you sure they're better off when they give you the money that you ask in exchange for the services? If you're sure they're better off, and you really have to be sure, then you owe it to them to offer it to them. You're not doing it to them, you're doing it for their benefit. That's major to consider.
Absolutely. So
that's a whoop whoop.
Absolutely. Right. You like that as well, Paula, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. It's not a trick question, but you got to know you're doing it for them. Okay. There's a thing, and I'm gonna say this here: the sin of the desert. The sin of the desert. That's when you know where the water is, but you won't tell anyone else. Where you know where the solution is, but you're keeping it to yourself. And it doesn't matter why you're keeping it to yourself. I'm tired now. They don't know me. They might reject my offer, whatever. When you have the solution and you have an opportunity to offer it to them, and you don't at least offer it to them, you are committing the sin and you are being selfish. If you won't sell, you are being selfish. You're keeping your good water. You're keeping your good solutions to yourself.
Love it.
That's absolutely amazing. Guys, if you have any questions, please raise your hand and I'll bring you up to the stage. I want to hear from Natalie. I want to hear from Greg. I want to hear from the rest of you as well. Professor Roxanne, Lisa, if you have a service.
And if anyone has found value in anything I said, I would like to hear it or find out. Did they find any value? Okay.
Yeah, sure. One of
let
the questions.
Let me welcome some more people, Cyrus. I see Celeste has joined us. Shuba, my good friend Shuba, joined us as well. I know how late it is. Now your end of the world, Shuba. So thank you for joining us. Esther Comforts joined us as well. That bimbo that was here a second ago, she may come back. And she does audio rooms, and she's one of my team. So we have worked together, and she has helped to make audio rooms happen for many a client. I'll give it back to you, Cyrus.
Thank you so much, Annie. There's a question on the screen.
I see it.
Do you want to take that one, Brian?
Yes, I do.
Read it first. Yeah.
Michelle Ramos says, I think my fear of rejection isn't the money for myself. It's the rejection because the one needing the content can't afford it. Now, thank you for putting that up there because I'm going to heal you right now. And it's a choice you need to make, and you can make this choice immediately. First off, your job is to offer it. They don't have to accept it, but you have to offer it. But the second part of what you said, listen to me clearly. People always, this is an absolute term, always find money for what they want. If anyone ever says to you they can't afford it or they don't have the money, I want you to just simply choose, which I have, not to believe it. You don't call them a liar, but you don't put weight on it as if it's true. So many times, people who have no money on their bodies or in the bank, but if a trip comes along that they want to take the trip, they'll find money to take the trip.
The problem. Money is never the problem.
It's never. Okay. Mm-hmm. If they see sexy boots on sale for $800 and they have no money in the bank, but the boots are on sale, if those boots get marked down to $300, they'll find $300 that day because they want the boots. People find money for what they want. If someone is using consistently that they can't afford you, it's not a question of they can't afford you. It's a question of how you position it so that they want it. You have to sell it a little bit better. And I think
if when you're trying to sell something, by the way, whilst you were saying that, David was laughing his head off. So when you present something, when you try to sell something to someone, if they say they don't have the money for it, right? That means I'm not convinced that selling that product to me, right, is going to be beneficial to me. Because when people are about to tap their card on that tap machine, the fear of losing their money for no reason kicks in before they start the process of paying, right? Before they put their money and put it like from their pocket, money goes from their pocket to yours. Before that thought occurs to them, they start thinking, am I going to lose the money? Am I going to be losing this money, right?
Or lucky me that I get to. That's what I want you guys to put on. Yeah. You're lucky for your clients if they get to work with you. Not lucky you if you get a client, because you know they're going to be better off. If you're not certain they're better off, we need to help you to get there. If I doubled or tripled or quadrupled what I offer, it's still a good deal for the client. Why? Because they get to benefit from it now, this week, next month, next year, and for the rest of their careers. You got to know they're better off. And no one is like you. There's value in everything rare. No one has your unique collection of gifts, skills, talents, and experiences. And no one's seen everything, and no one can do it the way you do it. It's always fit before fee. The ones that fit with you are the ones you earn your money with. Because you ain't supposed to sell to everybody. You're supposed to only sell to the right fits for you. Okay? Don't believe them if they say that. Here's how I should handle the money objection the first time it comes up. Ignore it because they don't mean it either. Okay? Just keep going.
Let me make a wish for you guys. I hope you always get the clients and the customers that you want, not the clients and the customers that want you.
Yeah. Don't accept those all the time.
That's the job of marketing. The job of sales is to bring in the cash flow. The job of marketing is to get rid of those customers who are not suitable or beneficial or helpful to your business. Okay, so they're not going to add to the health of your business. They're not going to add to the wealth of your business. They're just going to end up adding to negative reviews of some sort, right? So always, so when a client comes to me for starting a podcast, I always ask them the why first, because that is what qualifies or disqualifies the client for me. If I find out that that person just has the money and like the spare cash and they just want to spend it, no. I'm in this game for the long run, right? I'm playing the long game. I'm a brand creator. Okay, I'm not here to just sell one package. Sometimes you sell to one customer, and then a few years down the line, that's going to come back around and bite you on the backside. That's not something you want. Okay, so think about your brand. Okay, think about your brand. Your brand is always more important than that one sale that could be the doom and the gloom to your business. Now, David, I noticed. I'm sorry.
Apologize because I have to go, so I have to apologize. We have dinner arrangements, and I'm late already. So I'm hopeful everyone found value in our time. Thank you, Cyrus, for this opportunity to serve. I look at my work as my ministry. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for everyone who found value. My name is Brian K. McNeil. You guys have a beautiful rest of your time here.
Thank you.
But I do have to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Cyrus, can I just say something
Paula,
rather
please
quickly?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's just something. Obviously, Brian was pointing very clearly at, which is we don't want the customers that aren't actually what I would call real customers, aren't in it for longevity or whatever. But we also have to be able to see the customers that aren't really customers. There are an awful lot of people who would love your product. There's an awful lot of people who would genuinely like to do whatever it is you've got to do, would like to have what you are offering as a product, but don't have the finances, physically don't have the finances to have it or do it. And I have spent a lot of time trying to help people who are in that predicament, because it's a very sad situation, but it's a fact. A lot of people do not have the finances. It's not like down the back of the sofa time. We're talking about people that are not, if you like, in the business game. These are people that have become fairly recently have become entrepreneurs, and they've got to watch every single penny they spend before they can start investing. So I just want people to be really smart about who they put. Surround yourself with people that will help you initially for free, people that will give you the support you need for free. And then you'll be able to, when you can afford them, you'll be able to continue working with them. But there's an awful lot of people on here who want to do, they'll give you nothing. They won't even give them the scrapings off your shoe until they've seen the color of your money. And those people are not going to support you, help you, and take you from gloom to boom. And that is really a fact. So please separate those that really want to support you and help you from those that are just playing the game, because don't get involved.
Thank you. Paula, please don't go. Please stay on the line. Please unmute, because I have a question for you, if I may please ask.
Of course.
My question is, some of the audience, based upon the messages I'm receiving, and when I go to the audio rooms, I witness their conversation, listen to their conversation with their audience. I noticed that they struggle to create a balance between the audio rooms they're doing and the podcast that they should be able to create. Some people can and some people can't see the difference between the benefits of an audio room and the benefits of a podcast. What is your take on that? How would you
so for me personally, what I would do if I was going to do a podcast, and it's something I thought about. So if I was to do a podcast, it would be on anxiety in children and mental health.
Yeah.
And I would be telling everybody how to support their children and giving them lots and lots of free advice and lots of supporting stories to help them navigate that journey.
Yeah.
But at the end of that, I would then offer them my books. I would say there is a website. There's lots on there for the children. There's a free Jack and Water card that anyone in the world can download. But there's also books to be purchased by pressing a button when you can and if you can afford it. That's how I would do it. I would give everything for free so that they have all that information. So they see value first. They see purpose. They see value. They see passion and understanding. And I am bringing to them solutions. And then from that, I would say, by the way, I have written these books. This is the website. Please go and have a look at them. There are parts of that website that are completely free for the world over. But if you are looking to buy them, you can. And buy one for the library and share it. You don't have to buy one, I don't care if you don't buy 1,000. If you buy one for the library and every child can take it out and read it once a week, that would work for me.
Yeah.
So there's different ways of selling the story, but that's what I would do.
Yeah. So on the difference between the live audio room and the podcasts, what is your view on that?
Well, the podcast, obviously, you can go into more detail because you've got more time. You haven't got the interaction, so you can actually speak with the intonation and excitement and enthusiasm, so people get to understand who you are. And then once they've understood that, they might come looking for you on LinkedIn. They might come looking for you on the website.
Yeah, sure.
But I think the podcast is about giving as much of yourself and as much information as you can, and with a sort of, dare I say it, but an interesting voice, not a monotone, boring, uninterested voice, an upbeat, positive voice.
Sure. Thank you so much, Paulette. Angelica, what is your view on that? So there is 3 views here, really. Should I do an audio room? Should I have a podcast? Or should I be really smart and record my audio rooms and reframe them as a podcast and just upload them? So what is your view on that, Angelica? You're a podcaster. You're a seasoned podcaster, should I say? What is your view, please?
My view is, so I have video podcasts.
Your vodcast.
Which is, I do podcasts. And I think that is really helpful because people see your face. They see your expression. And they look at the emotion in your face when you're talking. So I recently had a room with Leah. 20 minutes after the room finished, she got a call right away for a booking. So those video podcasts really work, and I like the audio. Audio, I think, is good as well because people get a chance to speak like we're having right now. They might have a question. They want to see how you react to their question, how patient you are when they ask the question, and the way that you answer the question. So I love the audio rooms as well because it's a good way to see what people are interested in. And you find that out by the questions that people ask.
Absolutely. What do you think of recording those?
I think that it's a great idea to record them. And I'm going to start doing it because I think it saves time to just record it and
absolutely
and post it as well. And I've been recording some of them where I let people know.
I love it. That's exciting.
So I think that's the way to go. You're saving time, and you're going to reach more people. And I just love both of them, the video podcasts and also the audio rooms. So
absolutely.
I'm sorry. And that's a way that you could talk about, like what Brian was mentioning earlier, how they can save money with buying your book. Like, for example, people could save money with tutoring for their children because when children learn literacy skills early, then it's easier for them to read, right?
Yeah.
And then also for therapy, for example, people pay a lot for therapy as well. Well, that's a way that Paulette could share that her books help children so that it might help them more when they have to maybe speak to a therapist or solve the problem ahead of time. So those are some ways that we could sell on the podcast or audio rooms. Back over to you, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. Before you go, Angelica, one last question. How long have you been YouTubing and podcasting for?
I've been doing audio rooms. I started on Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like in 2021.
Yeah.
So
did you enjoy
well,
it?
I loved it. As soon as I did the Clubhouse, I said, this is my thing. This is what I love to do, you know? So I did enjoy it. And I think that's part of it. People could see whether you enjoy something. And it's telling in your voice and in the way that you interact with others. So yeah. And YouTubing, I've been posting videos, I'd say since 2009.
Yeah.
But I haven't really been as consistent with content as I'd like, but I am becoming more consistent now. So thanks, Cyrus, for those questions. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. You are amazing. Danielle, thank you so much for joining the room. Chim, Amaka, thank you so much for joining the room. Leah, thank you so much for joining. Michael, he's here, the man. Tajuddin, Abimbola, Clever, Ariadne, Esther Comfort, Lisa, one of the best individuals that I know. Hallie, thank you so much for joining. Amaka, Lorelei, Omba, Zara, April, Peter, Christy, Natalie, Greg, Lowe's, and Francine. So let's go back to the godfather of LinkedIn. Eni, how are you? And what is your take on the show so far?
I have to laugh first. I'm good. You know, Eni does what Eni does, right? No, it's a great show, Sarah. So, you know, I think, like I said, I think we've learned a lot. You know, Brian shared lots of gems that we can all learn from, right? And of course, you know, I think podcasting is a thing that we should all be involved in.
Yeah.
So I haven't done two loads of podcasts myself. I've seen the benefits, and you know, it's always worth doing. So, you know, I think business is all about getting, like I said earlier. You know, we will need more channels to reach more people. Otherwise, I can't help people. The more we can reach and engage, the more we can help, and that's what podcasts will do for you.
Absolutely.
You know, of course, the content that we record in these rooms, they can be, you know, they can be published as podcasts. Of course, they can. You know, the thing I would say, Cyrus, is now you need to get consent from people, you know, who are going to be published. You know, because you don't want someone suing you later on, right? You know, so and I published, you know, some of my audio rooms as on YouTube, really. You know, podcasts maybe. You know, it's essentially, you know, it's a recording, it's a video. But even those, I only publish me talking. I don't publish the audience who go and share. So just make sure that you bear in mind that there are copyright issues potentially if you don't get consent.
Consent of the speakers.
Yeah, well, so, you know, basically whoever's voice is going to be heard. You know, so someone can basically say to you, "Sarah, take my part."
Always get them to sign that declaration anyway. So before we publish,
media release form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can post it in the chat as well. That's the one I use. It always works. So they know it's going to be their voice is going to be used in an episode, etc., etc. So the legal side of it, you just raised the valid point, which I unfortunately forgot to mention. Thank you, Eni. Yeah, please continue.
No, look, I say no. So there's much that we can learn, and you know, if you're gonna do anything, you gotta do it properly, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's audio rooms, where there's podcasts, and so people need to do more marketing and do more great marketing.
Yeah.
That's why we've got this room. We'll need to find a way to build our business. So,
sure.
You know, the expertise we have here is here, and we're here to help people build their business. Whatever your business is, now amongst the four of us, we have the experience, the expertise, the knowledge to help anyone achieve their goals. So
absolutely. Thank you, Eni. Now, before I go to Ms. Gupta, I was gonna remind you guys about something that I always remind you about, right? So there's 3 types of podcasts. One, a type of podcast, so a podcast that people wish they made. 2, a podcast people say they want to create. 3, the podcast that people create. Which type do you think people can listen to? Which one do you think you can make money out of? Which one do you think can make you famous?
Tell us the second one again.
Yes, sure. So first one is the podcast. First one is the podcast that you wished you made. We always have one of those podcasts in mind. Oh my goodness, I listened to this podcast and just inspires me. I wish I made that podcast myself. It was always my idea. Somebody stole it, right? So that's podcast type number 1. Type number 2 is the one that people say someday they will create. As Brian Tracy says, they are someday islanders. They live on this island called someday, right? Someday I will create that podcast. Someday I will write that book, right? So type 2 podcasts are the ones that are the ones that people say they want to create. Podcast type 3 is the ones that people actually create. You can monetize it. You can do all sorts with it. Congratulations to those of us who actually create the podcasts. Okay. Let the world enjoy your work. Just like Paulette said, you need to be able to listen. You need to be able to create a podcast so you can provide that service. How do you think Paulette helped NHS have a little bit of less of a burden on its structure? She provided that service to them. How did she do that? She spoke to those people. She didn't think about it. She didn't just consider it, right? She basically, so did Martin Luther King say, I have a dream and pursue it? Or did he say, oh, I got a plan, potentially. I might do something in the future. No, Martin Luther King didn't say that. He said, I have a dream, right? So now, I want to go to Professor Roxana. She's not a person who thought, I want to write a book. She thought she wanted to write a book, and she actually did it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Professor Roxana. How are you today? And what is your take on today's show?
I am doing great, Cyrus. I have been listening to you for some time. You are fired. You are fired up, worked up, and then you are just doing it. But anyway, thank you so much, everyone. I am I'm happy that you made me come to the table to speak. One question I had before I came in, I think Annie has answered it. Is that are you able to record your audio room without? But Annie already talked about that. I thought that you're not allowed to record your audio room, but I already had from Annie and Angelica, my sister. So they said you can.
Okay,
I just thought that
let me address that, Professor Roxana. Let me address that in this way. I am not allowed, I'm not able to come to your house unless you invite me and you allow me. Then I can come to your house. So the act of coming to your house as a guest, right, in itself is a conditional kind of procedure. You have to allow me, I have to so you have to be happy about it, I have to be happy about it, and then that party happens, and then I can come to your house, or you can come to my house as a guest, come to my podcast as a guest. If both parties are clear on what they are doing, if all the terms and conditions are clear to both parties, there's nothing stopping you from publishing your audio room as a podcast. But if you have 16 people, you need to get 16 forms signed by all those individuals. Otherwise, no, you can't do that. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, great. Answer my. That's good. I I have heard that you can actually record it. Another question you asked before is that where is your book? I have written 6 books. They are on my, okay, 5 are on my website. So I guess putting them on my website and putting it on PDF reviewers, you can read it if you want to, but I put it there so that those who are interested are going to look at it. And I already talked to Annie about publishing my books, but I want what I'm thinking is that the first one I thought about is the COVID-19 anthology. So I would like that whenever it comes out, then, because it is the mother of all the other books I have written. I saw something that talked about mentors and mentee. And I said, after reading it, I said, this is just Annie. Because I didn't know I could write a book last year until I came to an audio room like this, and Annie announced about an anthology, just the one we are doing. And I asked him, can I join? He said, yes, I want to write a book. He said, sure, you can do it. And after about a few months, directly or indirectly, I was assured from all the networking, from all the things we said, all the communications, I found that I can actually write a book. Well, I went on it and I'm writing books. But I just want to say that we are mentors here. We have mentors here. And one of them is Annie. I keep telling him this, so I don't want him to, but I say this so that you know, someone might touch your life and he may not know. I like to tell the person. So you really need to tell, it's not just when somebody does what is bad, then you start shaming the person. What about the good things they did? All right, that's what I want to say.
Yeah, thank you so much, love. Professor Roxanne, every time I come to the anthology rooms, or every time you come to my rooms, you make my day better. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Now, I'm going to go to Ms. Gupta. Ms. Gupta, what's your question for the panel? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for saying that, Cyrus. First of all, a very, very warm greeting to everyone in the room. Thank you for letting me speak. And hi, Annie. So my point was actually about what Mr. Brian had shared a point earlier, and unfortunately he had to leave. But I believe I can still ask the question and share or know your perspectives, all of your perspectives. So my question is about he mentioned this point around sharing our gift with people, and when we don't do that, we are essentially somewhere being disrespectful, or something around those lines, like we're not being authentic, we're not being I mean, basically, like, it's wrong to not something around like disservice. It's a disservice to not share your gifts, which I totally agree. He gave an analogy of having water in a desert and not sharing that water with people, or not telling them where they can find water, just because you're scared that they may exhaust it, which again comes back to the point of scarcity mindset and growth mindset, and all these things make perfect sense to me. But somewhere, as much as I agree that it's so crucial, it's so important, and somewhere it's a part of like something greater than us as individuals. It's a part of a greater service that we do to the whole community, whole mankind, and that consciousness that we have in amongst each other that connects all of us. It's a service to that consciousness when we
I'm sorry for interrupting you, Ms. Gupta. What is your question? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, my question is about my question is actually about the specific point that he mentioned that sometimes it's possible for people to not be able to express themselves out there, but still go out there and express yourself. But what if, like, I mean, not what if, but sometimes it's just like really hard because just yesterday I was listening to someone called Liza Nicholas. She also is an author, and she mentioned this thing that we come from mindset that is taught by culture, and that made perfect sense to me. So if sometimes it's difficult to break out of that mindset, and like someone was sharing earlier in this room, that it's important to find the right people to support us through that journey of transformation of mindset. So my question is that how, like, as much as we want to share our gifts, but that transformation path is like really scary, especially like.
I get your point. Yeah. So we are running out of time, unfortunately, but I will very quickly answer your question here. Okay, Ms. Gupta. So I want you to focus on my answer, okay? Because we're running out of time. So the question is a very valid one, and in a way, it summarizes everybody's fear in this room, right? So the service and the product that you are trying to give the world, don't forget there is 8 billion people on this planet, right? So statistically speaking, there are lots of people whose level of knowledge is lower than yours, and their level of technology and the access to technology is lower than yours, right? And they may not be able to create content that you can create, right? So no matter how you look at it, you're still in a position to go ahead and create your product and service and offer it to people. Problem is, you judge it before people judge it. Your job is not to judge the product and service. Your job is to create the service and product and release it to the world. That's what your job is. Once you've done it, then you will be able to wait for like 60 days, I don't know, 90 days, okay? So 60 to 90 episodes after, you should judge your podcast. So this is how YouTubing and podcasting works, right? The problem that many people make is that they judge their podcast from episode 1, episode 2. No. You shouldn't do that. You're doing yourself a disservice, and you are doing the world a disservice. There's a lot of people. Okay, let me put it this way. If it wasn't for Paulette Hallam, I wouldn't be having this live room right now. If it wasn't for Annie Osong, I wouldn't be having this live room right now. What did they do for me? They explained to me that the service and the product I'm offering is a worthy one. It's worthy of being listened to. And that increased my self-confidence. So I was like, I am still like everybody else, right? So these people I just mentioned, Paulette and Angelica and Annie, these people built a bridge between what I am and what I can do, and what my service and product will, how my service and product will change the world. They created bridges between these. These amazing people connected the dots for me. I was not able to connect the dots because I was in the middle of the storm. I was in the eye of the storm. I couldn't see what they could see. They were looking at me from outside the problem. I was looking at myself from inside the problem, right? So I hope that makes sense. So the last question we're going to take is Adriadne's question. Adriadne, thank you so much for joining the show, and welcome to another edition of Gloom to Boom. How can we help you today? What's your question for the panel, please?
Hi, y'all. Thank you so much. And of course, you get me as soon as I'm doing a reverse turn in my car. but I definitely wanted to just come in and
That
give you
takes
some
me back.
kudos. First of all, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. No, I've already backed up incorrectly here and paid $2,000 for it, so we're not doing that today. One, I wanted to thank you for saying my name correctly. Where the heck were you when I was in kindergarten? Because it took me a heck of a long time to say and spell my own dang name. So
Well, it seems like
not
my whole education was wasted on me.
Correct. You're awesome. Second, I also want to thank you for having the gentleman that you had on. I will tell you, I'm still kind of new-ish to these LinkedIn streets, and that man gave so much damn value. I was over here like, if I can throw a shoe to the stage, I was like, let's go. Yeah, so I was a little bummed that he only got to 4, but that's okay. I've already DM'd him in the background. Third, although I'm newish here, I'm not newish to the podcast world. Many don't know. I've actually never spoken about it on this platform. But I, for the last year and a half, was a podcast producer for a podcast that had over, or has still over 260,000 members. For an entertainment entity that's out here in Dallas,
Please
Texas.
mention the name of the podcast.
It is Funny How Life Works. And so, when they say make yourself indispensable, y'all, I had to leave the podcast. I had family stuff, and the podcast
I'm sorry
is no
for
longer.
interrupting you. What problem does that podcast solve?
Oh, it solves many a problem. It is literally how life works and how you can make it work for you.
Oh,
so
nice.
Michael Jr. is the star of the show. He is a known, hold on a second. He is a known actor and comedian. And so basically, I went out and I found folks for him who were interesting. And like Gary Chapman was one of them. He was one of our very few last guests. He was awesome. And one tidbit I would like to give you all is to not listen to what everyone else is doing, but figure out your own secret sauce and figure out what people aren't talking about. So what really made us stand out is the questions, the pre-interviews with the guests that I created before they even got on the podcast. I absolutely believe that many of folks do not put enough emphasis on that, and thus you become like everybody else. So do your own secret sauce. Definitely do your investigative kind of journalism on them. But to really stand out and do something no one else is doing, how about do something that no one else is doing? So that's all I have to say, you guys. I just really appreciated you. I appreciate the space that you gave. And I appreciate you introducing me to the gentleman who was on the live with you today.
Ari,
Muchas gracias.
before you go, Ari,
Yes.
what is your business and how is it you help people? Please talk to us about it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I help you to grab life by your, so sorry, y'all. I wasn't ready for this. I'm going through this construction thing and I almost hit somebody. Give me 1 second. I do want to pull over because I do want to answer this question. Okay, thank you. I apologize. I help people take a hold of their life instead of life taking a hold of them. And so how do I do that? I have the receipts to show it. I went from wheelchair to dance floor in 21 days. And I can help you also get to the life that you want, because the life that you want is at the other end of you. So yeah, I left doing all the podcast stuff and all the corporate stuff so that I can now help others get the life that they want, because it is absolutely possible. Miracles happen every day.
Do you have your own podcast yet?
I do, but not here. I do have, I'm on another platform. I've got 80,000 plus folks out there. Yeah. I'm really trying to kind of close that down, and I'm going to be moving things over here and getting on YouTube. So hold tight. I'm coming. This little chicanita is coming this way. It's just taking me a minute to just shift some stuff over.
Well, thank you
Gracias
so much
for asking. And I'm writing my book. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, of course. I know you may have not finished the book. Please write a comment about the title or the summary of the book that you are writing in the comments. And Paulette, what Ari, the points that Ari was raising was really valid points. What is your take on that, please, Paulette?
Well, and anybody that can help anybody out of any situation is going to bring value. And if Ari can take people from that situation, fantastic. And let's be honest, a podcast starts the interest. Then you go and find out a bit more about what's going on. You find out about the product, you find out about the person, and bosh, you're in. So it's a drawer. It's a shop window. Your podcast is a different shop window, and that is how you should be seeing it.
It's a large and difficult to miss kind of window, isn't it?
Huge window, because it's available to the world.
Absolutely.
Your window is not just in one high street.
Absolutely.
Your and it hasn't going to cost you a fortune in rates and rent. You know, it really isn't. So that's the key for you, really, here.
Paulette, I spoke to my mom about your book, Jack and Walter, right? And then I played the song. I played the song for her, and she said it melted my heart. I was like, that song worked because it just encapsulates and encompasses everything that you wanted to put in those two characters, and that made me happy. Speaking of that song, I'm gonna play it for the room, and those of you who don't know Paulette Hallam, read her book, and you will see a window opening into her mind. Okay, so if you want to know someone, read their books. Check this.
In a state of fear, my anxiety shoots through the stratosphere. Cloud number 9 has rained again, my bed's wet, oh dear.
Mind you guys, this is about a child's fears. Okay, you can imagine how scared and terrified a child can be after moving into a new house, right? So this is what this character is talking about, right? So talking about the depth of his fear.
Oh dear, monsters crawling up the walls. I wish Walter was here. Jack of all trades I am, but surely master of no fear. Scary shadows walk through my walls. What's going on here? Big scary spiders reappear after they disappear. Need Walter to tell me, hang in there, dawn is nearly here. My anxiety is making me sick. I wish Walter was here. I wish Walter was here. I wish Walter was here. Shoots through the stratosphere. Cloud number 9 has rained again. My bed's wet, oh dear. Monsters crawling up the walls. I wish Walter was here. Jack of all trades I am, but surely master of no fear. Scary shadows walk through my walls. What's going on here? Big scary spiders reappear after they disappear.
So yeah, Jack and Walter, guys, buy this book and gift it to those kids between 7 and 12 years of age who may go through a lot of childhood anxieties. It helps them get sleep better and cope with life a little bit better through the power of reasoning with children. And the logic that is discussed in this book is off the charts. It's on a whole new level. Congratulations to you on writing such an amazing book, Paulette. I love it. I was actually the first person who bought it. Ha! Love it. So, Angelica, after Greg, I have a question for you, Angelica, okay? I'm not going to tell you what the question is. Okay, so Greg, welcome to another edition of Gloom to Boom. You're fantastic, Greg. How's it going?
It's going great, Cyrus. I have been sitting in the audience listening with the biggest smirk on my face, thinking about the audio room that you and I connected on, and how we were collaborating, right? Trying to help understand business ideas, right? And how we could make those better. and how we were chastised for having that conversation.
Badly and severely.
Yes.
I still have the scar.
Well, do we remember that guy? No, but I remember the conversation.
I remember you and how brilliant you were in that room. That's
Same.
it. That's it.
Yes. So I just listening to the conversation here reminded me of the value and the importance of having those conversations, right? And how we can collaborate with others and then make something better from those.
What is your message to people who have an idea for a book or a podcast, but they haven't created it yet, Greg? What's your take on that? What's your message?
Get started today.
Oh, wow. That's
Absolutely.
amazing. Definitely.
Why not?
Definitely. Yeah.
There's no reason you shouldn't.
That's fantastic. I see Tom Cullen is applauding. And Tom, you can come to the stage if you wish. I got Leslie Flower. Leslie Flowers in the room. Leslie, please raise your hand if you wish to join the stage. You have had a book as well. Yes, bringing you to stage. Moose Abdel, thank you so much for joining the stage. What is your question for the panel, please, about podcasting and being an author?
Yeah, thanks for having me. My question is, I've been on a lot of podcasts, and I've been getting a lot of requests in my DMs to be on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to understand what's the value proposition in podcasting, because when I go home and I go on YouTube, I'm watching like almost an hour and a half of a podcast, but sometimes it gets boring. I'm not getting like the real message, that aha moment. So that's my question for the panel.
Yes.
What's the value, the real value proposition in podcasting? That's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's a fantastic question, Moose. So I'm going to take this one myself. Okay. So if you are on a podcast that excites you, right? It just makes you feel good about what you're watching and about yourself. It is for you. It is absolutely for you. And you should continue watching that kind of stuff. What if you watch something that is boring to you? You need to do something that other people do if they find your work boring. What do you think they do? What do you think they do when they find my work boring? They switch the channel. They go to something else. They go ahead and watch something else. If it excites you, it is for you. If it doesn't, it's not for you, right? So 40 minutes in, and if you feel it's boring, it's not adding value to you. So you have to move. You have to move on. So what if it's not adding value? So that's another question, right? What if it's not adding value to you? Well, in that case, you should choose another one of millions of podcasts out there. Well, next time, use ChatGPT instead of Google to find the podcast for you, or go and search natively on that platform and try to find them that way. If they can't keep you entertained, that means you are there for entertainment. If they're not adding value to you, that means the line of work where your question lies is not aligned with that podcast. You need to swap. You need to switch and go ahead and watch something else or listen to something else. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. I've just been getting a lot of messages, be on this podcast, be on this podcast, be on this podcast lately. But yeah, like I see where you're coming from like a like from like an alignment perspective.
Mhm.
But I'll end it with this one. I have one more question, and I'll step off the stage.
Sure.
Besides brand recognition and brand awareness in a podcast, do actually people not watch but listen for almost an hour, 45 minutes of a podcast? Is there value there? Yes or no?
Sure. People who have been on this podcast, they have been here for over 2 hours and 16 minutes, right? If the value wasn't there, or if they got bored, they would have left by now, right? It's a logical thing, right? So if they did not get what they were after, they would have left by now. If they've stayed on the show for in excess of 2 hours, that means I have succeeded in bringing extremely interesting guests to the show, people like yourself, like other people on the stage. And I've also succeeded to bring in fantastic guests in the VIP section, because they come to the stage, don't they? So people don't come to podcasts because of my brand, because of my logo. People come to my podcast or come to my show because I am solving a problem. And if I don't solve the problem, they won't come to the show again. Okay, so you need to find. So let me give you some advice in a different area of podcasting as well. People spend to get guests, right? You shouldn't spend on getting guests. You should keep the guests you already have interested, keep them entertained, listen to what they are telling you. So I am checking as we're going along, I am checking and I'm pivoting, right? I'm checking what people are saying, what people are wanting, people are asking, and I am adding those questions to the screen, right? So why do you think that is? It's simply because this audio room, this podcast belongs to them. Okay, I'm the one who's talking, right? Belongs to the guests in the speaking lounge, and belongs to people in the listening lounge. That's to whom it belongs. Okay, let's not forget, your audience is king. Your audience are the queens. Respect them. They will bring their friends and family in. Don't respect them, you will lose their respect and their interest at the same time. That's how it works. So keep them interested, keep them feel valued. They multiply because they will bring other friends out to the show. They will share you and they will respect you back. And why do you think these people are sat here? Because I'm fantastic? I extremely doubt it. They are sat here because they are supporting us. Leslie, thank you so much for joining the show. You are a seasoned coach and a prominent author, same as Paulette and Angelica. What is your view on podcasting and audio room so far?
Well, I'm not sure what a podcast is, because I see it being used in audio rooms. So I have not done a podcast, but I do an effective audio room. And I'm not sure really, why the purpose of doing a podcast, actually. And I came in late. So if you have a particular question, I don't know. This book is my 10th, which is my first fiction.
Oh my goodness, that's brilliant.
And the other 9 are nonfiction. But I tend to play in one area, like on LinkedIn. So you tell me how. I mean, I know that for Paulette's in my room, we fill the room every week. We have interested people. What is the benefit for an author, and this is for you or for anybody who is an author, the benefit of a podcast, and is it an audio room or is it on one of these streaming services? And why do I want to invest time, which is extremely valuable, jumping around to different sites? Now, I listen to Rachel Maddow's podcast and some news podcasts when I'm driving, but maybe you can help me understand, Cyrus, or anybody who here, what is the advantage of investing time, which is a fair amount of time and energy, on a podcast? What is the, I get the impact can be expansive, but in actual fact, what are the values? I mean, what is the point? Why not just right here with the wonderful audience I have here?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I have mixed feelings because I'm not really sure, Cyrus, what the heck it is. Is it, so I'll leave it there and please answer.
Valuable question. Leslie, you are a valuable person with valuable insights. So let me answer your question.
Cyrus, if I may, I can answer that for.
Well, actually, I asked Cyrus, and then I'd love
that's
to
fine, dear. That's fine.
No, and then I'd love to hear from you or anybody, because I am kind of in a state of confusion. So I'm not. I just don't know. Do I really want to invest a fair amount of my time in creating something new when I'm having a really good time here on LinkedIn playing? So,
yeah, sure. I will respond. I'll provide a fair response to the question, okay? Because that's a valid question. I'll let Lady Drew give us aspect her view, and then I'll provide mine. Please go ahead, Lady Drew.
Okay, for me, when I first established my account with LinkedIn, what I've discovered with podcasts and audio rooms, which I like the audio rooms better, but Angelica, I'm quite sure, she's a dear friend of mine. She can confirm what I'm saying. On a podcast, it's basically the same as an audio room, except for it doesn't have the interaction nor the personal appeal as an audio room. They both present information that's very important to many. It just depends on what your subject matter is that you desire to learn or contribute to. On a podcast, you text in your information, whereas when an audio room, it's much more personal and more enjoyable to me because you get to actually speak on it and you present your information vocally instead of a text, because many people on a podcast do not respond to each other. Now, on an audio room, they do. So to me, you get more benefit of having an audio room than you would a podcast. So that's the way I look at it. And
now that's a listener. So I'm speaking, and I appreciate that. I totally get and align with you. That's a person who's listening, who's contributing, who's part of the podcast. I'm talking about me as the facilitator of the podcast. What is the benefit for me, right, to facilitate and invest that time elsewhere? So I get that that's for yourself and for myself. I really enjoy audio rooms, but I'm looking at, why would I, as a facilitator, want to invest the amount of time? What is my benefit? I get yours.
Well, Leslie, from what I understand, hon, is that you still get to present the information, but it's not nearly as interactive. So I really prefer an audio room much more.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Cyrus, what's the benefit for me? What do you get out of it?
I just received
What is the benefit for you, my friend Cyrus?
Yes, sure. I just received a message from Angelica. I think Angelica wants to answer that, and then after Angelica, I will answer. Please go ahead, Angelica.
Okay, Angelica.
I was going to wait for Cyrus, but I guess he...
Go on, Angelica. Ladies first. Ladies first.
There you go. Well, this is the thing with the audio rooms. You can make an audio room your podcast. what you could do is you could get release forms for those that are on stage and ask them if it's, have them, you know, sign that it's okay to play it as a podcast. And what you're doing is you're killing two birds with one stone, because you have the recording as long as the people that are on stage say that it's okay. But I think with a podcast, you can place that podcast anywhere. You could put it on YouTube, you could put it on Facebook, you could put it on Twitter. So the benefit is, if you're selling your book, is that you have more of a reach of people that will get to know what you're doing. So that's where I see the benefit in that. And you save time. The way that you could save time is by making this audio room. Like if we wanted to record this, we would send out media release forms for those who are on stage and have them sign. And after they sign, then you're set and ready to put this audio room, it would be a podcast, on a podcast to share with everyone. So that's where I see the benefit, Leslie.
And that's why you're on this show. That's why you're on this show.
Thank you.
Oh.
Now, let me just say this, that I'm, Cyrus, excuse me for interrupting.
No, it's all right.
I love the audio, the ability that it's not recorded. Because of, you know, I don't know that I want to go through all the rigmarole, although that is an option. And I do love that. And I know there are some people that do record them. And so I could see the benefit there, absolutely. And I can put my lives on YouTube, so I get that. Okay, Cyrus, now blow me away with why it's a great
idea.
Let
me ask you a question. I want you to think back, right, and tell me if you ever gave a speech for a college or university back in 90s or 80s.
Not at a college or university, but plenty of other places.
Which one of them brings to mind when you think about the subject matter? That if I ask you, I want you to remember, right, that one particular, that is your best ever speech. Where did you give that speech?
I gave that in a hotel event with 250 people. That was one that I remember.
What year was it?
Well, no, actually, that was in the 2000s. You're talking about in the 90s. I don't know. You're asking me to remember 30 years ago.
I know. I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, to be honest.
I was going to say, get to the point, because I'll be able to answer it.
Okay, so let me illustrate. Let me demonstrate that point. So let's say it was 1995, right?
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any recording?
Maybe. Can you hear me all right? It keeps saying that I'm on mute.
No, I can hear you. You're absolutely audible to us. Yeah.
I don't remember. This is 30 years ago.
Okay. Now, the point I was trying to make is that is one of your best speeches, right?
Yeah.
And that is that. So was it good enough? If somebody listened to it, they would say, "Oh my goodness, I want to hire her. I want to give her the next $1 million project." Right? Would you not have wanted that project?
Well, sure.
Yeah, sure. So, but you don't have it. I'm gonna have to trust your word, okay? Which I do. But to somebody who doesn't know you, let's call them customer, that is not available. Okay, so when you record it, you can call it a podcast, right? So, is the point conveyed? We're talking about proving the value to the customer, right? So if you had it, I would ask you, can you please send me a link? Then I would send it to that person. That person would hire you for that big project. So if you have audio rooms, right, that's amazing, which you do. That's amazing. But another point I wanted to convey here is that in your audio room, there's like, let's say 80 people. Let's like, I don't know, 100 people, 150 people max.
No,
right?
Usually my rooms have like maybe 40, which is, I thought was pretty good, but
I'm exaggerating the numbers, right?
Okay.
So let's say 250 people. Is that fair enough?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So 250 to your potentials, it's nothing compared to what you can do. And you're a heavy lifter in the space that you are an expert in, right? So I can't promote you because that audio room is gonna come to an end in that space of 1 hour and a half or 1 hour that you are speaking and you are providing value. I can't promote you a week later because that is gone and that is not recorded. Okay, so gone with the wind. So also I can't monetize it because I have to send people to that link and tell them, hey, you, Mr. or Mrs. Joe Blogs, who loves the teachings of who's the author of Think and Grow Rich?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. Okay. So Napoleon Hill. Okay. So you who like Napoleon Hill's teachings, go to this person's podcast on LinkedIn, on let's say on Buzzsprout, or go to Spotify, or go to Apple's audio, and find this person there and enjoy her work. So that's the difference between podcasting and live audio rooms. Live audio rooms are fantastic for interaction, but at the end, you should have some podcasts to refer people to go ahead and go and learn from your previous work, recorded work. That was the point I was trying to make. So it's just a matter of choice, and that's a matter of having that ability or not having that ability. And you need to have a podcast. And as I always say to my clients, when you are walking in a jungle, having a gun when you don't need it is better than needing a gun when you don't have it, right? So create that podcast. So
well, okay, so you're using the word podcast very loosely, so it isn't defined to Spotify or one of those. Is it anything that is recorded that people can observe and make choices? I mean, this is about reach.
Yeah, reach.
Okay,
Yes, it's about reach. Yes,
about customer reach and
yes.
clients. Yeah. Yes. But my question is are there boundaries, or can anything you record be a podcast?
Yeah,
I guess that's where the part of the confusion
yeah,
is.
yeah. Anything you can record, and then you can call it a podcast because that's a recording, right? If you put it on Spotify, then you can monetize it. So out of like 1,000 people who go there, you get, as an example, just hypothetically, you get $10, right? So something like that. So I can't monetize something I can't see. I can send you to my website and say, go to my top 10 and listen to the works, listen to the work of such and such person, right? But if you're not on that top 10, if you're not recorded on there, pre-recorded, I will not be able to send people, and I will not be able to cut it short and put it on YouTube. I can't enjoy something that I can't see. Or can't listen to. That's the thing.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, the other part of the investment, Cyrus, and I do get it, is that it's a commitment of time consistently in spaced intervals over time. So it has to be something that I want to work into and include in my schedule, because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to want to do it every week, so that customers get comfortable and they know where to come, right?
Oh yeah. But this tells me that as an individual, you have doubts in podcasting's kind of potential. Why am I saying that? If you knew for sure that you would get an extra $100,000 every month, would you or would you not have found the time? And would you or would you not have made the commitment to do it weekly? Of course you would. Who wouldn't, right? So because you are doubtful about the potential of it and what it can do for you, because you haven't seen the potentials yet, that's why you don't have the belief in it. So it's not for everybody, okay? Not everyone's for podcasting. Well, podcasting's for everyone, but not everyone's for podcasting. That's the way I put it.
I would rather say that I'm not doubtful. I'm in a place of confusion because I don't know anything really about it. I stay away from it, but since I happen to be here, right, I thought, well, let me find out something about it. So out of confusion comes clarity.
Oh yeah.
And why don't we have a conversation offline further about the subject?
Sure. But before we have that conversation, Leslie, I wanted to say, you're already doing it. You are already a podcaster. You already, you are better than just a podcaster. You are a coach and a podcaster. So you have seen more than one aspect of the business, and you have your own teaching. You issue your own certificates. So you are podcast ready. I have studied you, right? All right, and I believe in you as a brand and as a person, right? So, for me, it's not when I think about you, it's not whether you can do it or not. Is when are you going to do it? That's the question. I've always thought about when I see you, and because I think when I think about people, I think about, oh, is she going to have a podcast or not? Because I create podcasters, right? So I think
I know you do.
You know what I mean? I think is Paulette going to do it? And what's hers is going to be like?
Yes,
because
she
what
is.
what is it? Am I going to get another two Angelicas out of this room? God knows, right?
You might. And let me just say, my last thing I'm going to say after thanking you very much for this, and I'm very glad that I stumbled in here. First, I want to thank Lady Drew very much for her contribution.
She's fantastic,
and then I think Gregory, who I've blocked, made a very, very good point. I wasn't sure it was him, but the point is to start now. This is what I teach. The question is, is the value there? And that's where I'm still, searching, and I need more information, right? So that I can be clear and make a strategic decision about, is that something I want to do at this point? So it's very important that whatever you're going to do, go ahead and start it. The biggest things that people have ever given to mankind, they had no clue how. And that's why I think that's such a good point to go ahead and start now.
Yeah.
Even from somebody I don't see very often.
Before Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich, which all of your work is predicated upon now, right? Almost all of it.
Some of it is, yes.
Before he wrote it, surely, like any other author, he has thought about what you just said. Is it going to be logistically possible? Is it going to be worth my while? Is it going to be beneficial to the world? I think the answer to all of it is yes. Now, in hindsight, as they say, hindsight is 20/20, isn't it? So you are going through exactly through the same things that he went through, right? Now, he's gone now. His book is left behind. We're talking about legacy here, aren't we? So his legacy is what is pushing us forward, right? If the answer to any of those three questions was no, we wouldn't have him. However, we would have somebody else. So,
well, and the book that I have that just came out will be my legacy, because it includes not only fiction, but it includes 25 years of studying Hill and the people before Hill, because Hill had people before him, right? Just like me. So I think it's an area that I'm willing to absolutely find out more information on before I jump in. I don't have to know everything about it, but I've got to be able to evaluate my own time. I'm in a place in my life where I don't jump around and run around and take this and take that, right? I've done that. I've been through all of those things.
Yeah.
I was doing chatbots when nobody knew about it.
Yes.
Right. So I'm just in a place of gathering information And I do appreciate what you've shared about the video and your philosophy. And also, Angelica, thank you to my beautiful friend and Paulette. Are we doing this together, Paulette, or are we doing it separate?
Oh, yes, we are.
Okay, okay. Well, we're going to take our Monday morning Mind Over Matter, and
that's the one.
Leslie, I got an idea, I've been thinking about it for 3 months now, right?
Okay.
I was thinking, like halfway through one of your audio rooms and Annie's audio rooms, right? Everybody was talking about ontology. And I was thinking, what if? So again, that it's a Cyrus thing, right? You guys better get used to it. I say a lot of what if. I start a lot of questions with what if, right? What if we create an ontology, a podcast ontology? Who's going to be in? I want to see show of hands. What if we create a podcast ontology? Who's going to be in it?
And how would that show up? Because it wouldn't be a book. It would be, what would it be?
It would be on Amazon. It would be on Amazon. It would be on Spotify, where people listen to their music. They listen to the podcasts as well. It would be on all the platforms that people listen to their podcast, right? So, and also it would be on Whisper Boys Top 10 because we're going to create it. So we might as well, it is within our power to put it on the top 10, right? So that's beside the point.
Cyrus, what you're talking about is creating something new. It's like my friend Nick, the GBW is now issuing 3 anthologies concurrently.
Yeah.
She's basically blowing away all the individual anthologies, which are still fun to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can write a chapter, you can be in a book, but nobody, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're a good writer. It means that you have a big heart and
Yes.
you want to share your story. But that if you like that idea, I recommend that you do it and you be the first, because Nick is the first to do 3 at once and generate them all at once, which is innovative. You could do just what you're talking about. What if Cyrus does it?
Leslie, let me ask you a question. What brand of mobile are you using?
Mobile?
Mm-hmm.
You mean
mobile phone?
A telephone?
Mm-hmm.
iPhone.
iPhone. Are they the first who made mobile phones?
No.
But they are the most successful.
My first mobile phone
So it's not. It doesn't matter if you're not the first, as long as you do it the best way you can do. It will work, trust me. So other phones are coexisting at the same time as this piece of technology that you're holding in your hand now. Mine is the same. Mine is an iPhone. They are not the same people who created phones, but they found out what the customer wants, what the customer needs, and they ended up coming out on top, right? So our friend Nick, they can do it, but we're going to outwork that person and beat them. That's how I operate. So you don't have to be the first, you don't have to be the last, right? You've got to be the one who's going to outwork others. That's it, right?
Well, actually, I don't. Yeah, I guess not necessarily, but it's not about being first. It's about taking action that Gregory said on your idea.
Oh yeah. As long as that podcast episode solves a problem, okay? As long as that podcast or audio room episode is problem, solution, product, right? Problem, solution, product. Now.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you so much for your contribution as well. Now, Tom Cullen is in the room. He's successful in his own right. What he does is that he's in the business of beverages. Can a podcast help somebody who is in that line of work? Yes. Can a podcast help somebody who is out of work? Yes, of course. A podcast is a very powerful tool. We are podcasting right now as we speak. And as I said at the beginning of the show, everything we are talking about is being broadcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, on also on YouTube and on X.
Excuse me, this audio room is being broadcast?
It's being broadcast, yes.
So I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so you joined the show maybe later on, but so from the beginning of the show, we explained to everybody that we are just casting it there. It's not being recorded there, it's just being cast there. So because it's a collaborative work between us, Any, Jew Digital, and it's a collaborative work. So now, Tom, what you do is selling beverages, right? So right now, thousands of people are watching you talking about your product. This is how we are solving the traffic problem. People don't get traffic to their websites. People don't get enough views. What's the point in doing an audio room on LinkedIn and getting 40 views, and that would be the end of it? If you could choose between 40 or 4,000, which one would you choose? Of course, 4,000 people. Sales is eyeballs and decisions, right? So people look at your product. If it's a worthy product, if it solves problems, they'll buy it. No matter how much you think that product is worthy, if it's not solving a problem, they won't buy it. So please tell me, how are you planning on creating your podcast, or what would you talk about if you had a podcast?
Thanks, Cyrus.
Please speak a bit louder, Tom. I can't hear you clearly.
I said, thank you, Cyrus. We have chatted a few times.
My pleasure.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Or are those earphones on your head blocking your head?
You're amazing.
I've never done a podcast, never done an audio room. I'm an observer. Watch, I learn. I watch, I learn.
You're a watchcaster.
And quite honestly, years ago, my company did a podcast, but I wasn't in it. I passed the buck and let someone else talk. So there's two different views that I can comment on. I have yet to experience it, but I am going to experience it this month, just so you know. We'll start with an audio room, and it will probably end up being a video podcast after the fact, and I'm going to mix and match as I go along. I'm growing my business, and what I'm seeing and hearing is when you're on a audio room, people get to listen to you. They get to know you. They can't see you, but they can hear you. They still don't know anything about you other than what you're telling them. So they have to take it at face value. That's the bottom line on the audio room. But they get to know you. So when you have a podcast, I'm learning. Now they get to see you. When I go to networking events, I like to shake someone's hand, look them in the eye, and say, nice to meet you, and get to know them. That is where I see the podcast coming in. Now you have your voice to the audio room. You now have your face to your brand, your face to your company. And people come to the podcast and they actually see who you are. They see your products if you have them on display. Podcast allows you to share screens so that you can inform, educate. And these are things that I'm learning and I'm grasping. And I'm quite excited, honestly, I had several people ask me when I'm going to create an audio room. I've been listening for 5 months, now in audio rooms. I've watched quite a few podcasts. Angelica's I've seen probably 3 or 4 times at least. I've seen your Cyrus a few times. So I learn, and that's what I'm gaining from the experience. So when I learn something new, I apply it in my own way of thinking. And yes, I sell food and beverage products, on the one side. On the other side, I do web development work and hosting. Just 2 different businesses, but under the same umbrella. It doesn't matter. But the point is, with my audio room and with the amount of sharing I've been doing, I get to share my experiences with people. Sometimes they're vulnerable shares, other times they're to the point. And I have a lot of experience behind me. And, you know, wins and losses, it doesn't matter. I don't keep count. As long as you keep learning and moving forward, that is what counts. So the audio rooms have taught me that I can speak on stage. The podcasts that I'm looking at in the near future is going to allow me to now show and tell. So I'm going to use both. I'm going to utilize them. I'm going to make the best of it.
Well done.
So
that's good.
For me, Cyrus, you know, I'm sold on podcasts. That is where you can show and tell and show people who you are. People can read you. People can look in your eyes, albeit through video. They can look at you and say, yeah, I like that person. And yeah, I want to hear more of him. I want to talk to him. I want to meet him. I want to, you know, perhaps shake his hand. Or they'll look at you and they'll say, yeah, I see his point, but I'm not ready to hire him yet. But on the next room that they come to, now they look at you and they say, wow, he actually means his shit. Pardon the expression. He knows what he's talking about. And he's been there, he's done that. And let's listen some more. So the more people listen to you, the more people see you, the more they can relate to you. And the more they trust you and they trust your opinion. Because you're not just pulling legs, you're not hiding it. You know, I'm as transparent as it gets. Sometimes it's my undoing, but you know, in the end, I'm learning today, Cyrus, not to really care what people think of me as long as I'm making a message that others can resonate. If I can help one person out of 5 take that next step,
oh yeah,
I'll do it.
Now, Tom, sorry for interrupting you. What is the name of the product that you sell?
Which one?
The line of work that you sell.
I sell Summerland Sweets products, and I've had other growers get in touch with me recently because of the recent shutdown.
Summerland, did you say?
Summerland Sweets.
Summerland Sweets. Okay, so now I want you to remember this bit. Remember this audio bit. Okay, Summerland Sweets. Right. Now say your name. My name is such and such, and I sell. And then stop at the end of the sentence. My name is. Please say your name and then say I sell.
All right. My name's Tom Cullen. I run OKD Service Limited.
And I sell. That's it. Now stop there. Stop there. No, stop there. Stop there. So you just said, my name is Tom Cullen. Okay. And I sell. Now, if I recorded this, I would be able to cut as I please, right? And edit. And in the edit, out of this 5-minute conversation, I would be able to cut what I need and paste it on an audio clipboard, and then use it as advertising, right? So that is the power of podcasting. So when I record you, right, I've had audio rooms in the past, and the person I was speaking with was such a negative person, right? And I asked him, so in the process that you've as you evolved in your journey into a more successful person, did you learn from anybody else? And he said, well, not everybody had the knowledge that I have, and I've worked so hard in this market. I said, no, what I meant was, who's influenced you? Did you read any books that you found helpful? And he said, yeah, such and such person's book was a good one. And so what I did was I cut off all of his arrogance and put it to one side. And I asked the question. So my question remained the same. His response. So I had take 2 and take 3. And in the final episode of the podcast, I put the more customer-friendly version in the audio. That's what you get in the post-production of the podcast, right? So you are able to edit as you go along. That's what podcasting gives you as an ability, right? So there's a lot that you can do, and that episode contributed to selling many books that he had actually created. Many of the new version, of course. There was the 2 versions to it, and he wanted to sell the new version. So I positioned that new book as the only book. I didn't mention that there was a failed version, obviously. So I edited that out, because people don't care if you failed or you didn't fail. People don't care how long you've been in the industry. They don't care what shoe size you're wearing. They want to solve their problem. If your product is solving the problem, they'll be grateful that they pay you the money, just like Brian was saying earlier. I love the way he said money. So make sure, please, the product that you created is mentioned in your podcast, and make sure the podcast that you're creating has 3 main constituents, 3 main elements to it, right? And that would be a successful podcast. So we're going to bring the episode to an end. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with us, guys. I love every single one of you, and I respect every single one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of Whisper Boys journey in this episode of From Gloom to Boom. Thank you so much, Eni Osong. Thank you so much, Angelica Coral. Thank you so much, all the amazing guests that we are on the stage, and Paulette Hallam. You're an important part of the journey, and I'm lucky. Probably the luckiest person in this room is me, because I have you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Please write to me at info@whisperboy.com, or there's a website, whisperboy.com, and please go to that website definitely. When you in an audio, this is what I've learned from the best in the industry, like people like Leslie, like Paulette, like Angelica. Talk about your products, talk about your books at the end, and give them a call to action. A CTA is probably the most important part of your podcast. CTA, call to action. That's when you ask your viewers to do something, to go ahead and click on a button, send an email, do something. I just did it a few moments ago, didn't I? Right? So please go ahead and buy Leslie Flower's book. Please go ahead and buy Angelica Coral's book. Google Angelica Coral. That's a call to action, right? I have created a wine brand called Bono Vinote, and you guys are going to be hearing from this wine brand soon. I've been speaking to a really famous wine manufacturer, obviously for contractual due to contractual obligations. I can't divulge further than this, but we are in the process of creating the wine as well. There's a story behind the wine, and the story is really funny and educational, and it's illustrated, and it's going to be it's going to turn into an audio book as well. And I want to share that with you guys. Okay, so from each country, I'm going to choose one seller, one salesperson. And if you're in the United States, from each state, I'm going to choose one salesperson, one sales individual, one sales representative, and sell the wine in that region through that person. I want to get my friends to make money. So that's the purpose of creating my brands. My brands don't just make money for me. They make money for a community. That's how my brands are going to be popular. People are going to be behind it. It's not just one person. If you want to succeed in what you do, create teams. Create teams and get them to make money. Everything's going to be all right. Okay? As long as everyone makes money, everyone's happy, everyone's going to be helping. Then you have something called a community. Otherwise, you have followers. And followers are fickle as anything. Today they're following you, tomorrow they're following somebody else. that's why I have to differentiate between a community and followers, right? I'd rather have 18, 20, I don't know, 50 loyal representatives in the world than having 1 million followers. Followers, that's what it says. The proof is in the pudding, right? Followers just follow you. Today they're following you, tomorrow they might not. That's why some of us create a podcast, create a book, create, I don't know, a merchandise. Today we're selling it, tomorrow we can't. Everyone promises to buy it, but they're not going to end up buying it. Why is it? Why do you think that is? Because one, you haven't showed interest in their product, and two, there are better products out there. You need to teach them. You need to help them understand what they're going to get out of it, huh? WIFM, WIFM, WIFM. What's in it for me? I learned that from the biggest salespeople in the world, right? Everyone's talking about it. Everyone who wants to buy a book is gonna turn around and say, "What's in it for me?" That's why. How many of you have bought books but read the first 3 pages and put it on a shelf? You know, those self-development books that you're buying. How many of you? I'm one of those people. If I knew that book that I've bought is going to solve a problem, I would buy it from cover to cover, wouldn't I? But I'm not convinced. I was convinced. I bought it on a whim, right? I bought it because I wanted to buy it. Sounded like a good idea at the time. But instead of self-development, I ended up doing shelf development, right? So you want to self-develop, not shelf-develop. You don't want a shelf full of books. You want to develop yourself. So on that note, we're going to finish today's episode. Before I go, I love and respect every single one of you. People on the stage, could you please say goodbye to the amazing people in the lounge?
Bye, everybody. Love you all.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you so much. Take care, guys. See you.